Chapter 748. You're leaving just like that? You don't want to look around anymore? It's not easy to come here. Isn't your 10 million wasted? Xiao Chen also saw Zheng Xinxiang's disappointment. That can't be helped. The deposit is not refundable. Zheng Xinxiang said helplessly, I originally thought that the money I brought should be enough. I asked around, and the price of the few thousand-year purple snow lotuses that appeared before was only around 100 million. There wasn't such a high price, so the money I brought was enough. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen? It's my fault. I shouldn't have said that. So that's how it is. Xiao Chen nodded. He had a good impression of Zheng Xinxiang, so he thought for a moment and said, I do have some medical skills. You can leave me the sect's address. When I'm free I'll go and take a look at your master. Who knows, there might be a way. Oh really? Zheng Xinxiang didn't doubt Xiao Chen at this moment. Instead he said in surprise, That's great. Thank you, young hero Chang. I'll leave the address to you. As he spoke, Zheng Xinxiang took out a paper card. It was his business card. The position of the acting leader of Greenstone sect was printed on it. It was quite exquisite. However, with his current situation he rarely gave business cards to people. After all, Greenstone sect only existed in name. Okay, since you trust me I'll definitely visit. Xiao Chen didn't expect Zheng Xinxiang to trust him so much. If it were someone else he would have doubted and asked, but Zheng Xinxiang didn't and directly gave him the address. Little did he know that Zheng Xinxiang felt that Xiao Chen had no need to lie to him. Because he was the acting leader of a declining sect. What could he lie to? Moreover, Xiao Chen was so powerful. He was a devil general. What was the point of lying to him? Then I'll wait for young hero Chang. I'll leave first. Zheng Xinxiang said with his fists clasped. At this time the first half of the auction ended. He got up and left the venue. After resting for half an hour, the auction resumed. Smiling Mithriya saw that Zheng Xinxiang didn't come back and couldn't help but be stunned. He thought that this kid ran fast. He wanted to teach him a lesson after the auction ended. However, it was useless even if he ran. The monk could run but the temple couldn't. The half-hour break is over. I believe everyone can't wait for Xiaofei's arrival, right? Xiaofei walked to the front of the stage with sexy steps. Under the spotlight, she changed into another set of clothes. The only regret was that her face could not be seen clearly. But thinking about it, it wouldn't be too bad. Sometimes the unseen was the best. The person in charge of the auction knew this principle very well. With Xiaofei around, the value of the auction would be doubled. The surroundings immediately fell silent as soon as Xiaofei spoke, and all of them revealed looks of anticipation. Of course, it was true that they were looking forward to Xiaofei's performance, but it was mostly because every time the auction started, they would bring out the final mysterious auction item. I wonder what it will be this time. Xiao Chen didn't know about this. He just looked at Xiaofei in confusion. He didn't understand what everyone was looking at. Alright, I won't keep you in suspense anymore. The second half of the auction will officially begin. Xiaofei smiled and her sexy lips opened and closed, looking very alluring. It's about time for our mysterious auction item to appear. Let us invite. At this time a staff member appeared on the stage. In his hand was an extremely small and thin jade box. But what good stuff could such a small box contain? Everyone present was very curious and all of them couldn't take their eyes off it. Many perverted male cultivators who came for Xiaofei also turned their attention to the jade box. The spotlight stopped on the staff member's hand. He slowly opened the jade box and inside was a book. What book was this? How could it be worthy of being the final mysterious auction item? Only Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. As expected, his 5-poison secret manual had been taken out. I believe everyone can see clearly that this is a secret manual. But what kind of secret manual is it? Xiaofei walked over and gently took out the secret manual from the jade box. She said in surprise, Wow, it's the long-lost 5-poison secret manual. Xiaofei's words caused the whole place to fall silent for a short while. Then there was a burst of discussion and sighs. It's really the 5-poison secret manual? Isn't that the special skill of the poison sect? It's long been lost. Why did it appear again? It can't be? Is it real or fake? It's an imposter, right? How could such a thing suddenly appear? And if someone got their hands on it, wouldn't they be stupid not to keep it for themselves and auction it instead? Sho. I think you're the stupid one. What if this was taken out by some big sect? Aren't you courting death? I didn't say anything. All sorts of discussions came from the audience. Xiaofei cooperated and didn't say anything. She allowed the audience to exclaim. Only by doing this could the value of the 5 poison secret manual be brought out. Otherwise, if it was something that no one was interested in, how could it be called a mysterious auction item? Now I will announce the starting price of this 5 poison secret manual. The starting price is 500 million, and each increment must be no less than 50 million. Once Xiao Fei said this, everyone present was shocked again. Even if it was a mysterious auction item, it wasn't this expensive in the past. 500 million starting price? This was a sky-high price, and each increment must be no less than 50 million. This condition was also very harsh. But thinking about it carefully, if this thing was real, then it was really worth this price. Wait, how can this thing be proven to be real? The one who spoke was the arrogant young master. His sect had nothing to do with poison. He had only asked this question to make his presence known and talk to Xiao Fei a few more times. Of course, he didn't rule out the possibility of his sect wanting to buy it and study it. Even if it was a righteous sect, in front of a secret manual that could sweep away the entire Jianghu, the name of a righteous sect was not important. I also know that some people might ask this question. Then, before the auction, I will open the seal of this 5 poison secret manual and read out the contents of the first 2 pages. As for whether it is real or not, everyone can judge for themselves. Xiao Fei smiled and picked up the 5 poison secret manual from the jade box of the staff member. She opened it on the spot and read out, "The 5 poison secret manual is..." The audience was so quiet that even a needle could be heard. Everyone present was an elite of their sect. Whether this secret manual was fake or not, they could roughly guess in their hearts after listening to it. Although they didn't come from the path of refining poison, there were many similarities in the path of martial arts. Alright, that's it for now. You can start bidding now. Xiao Fei put the 5 poison secret manual back and looked around. 600 million. To everyone's surprise, the man in the black bamboo hat who wanted to buy the long-distance talisman was the first to bid. Moreover, he increased the price by 100 million, even skipping the 50 million mark. Every time this man bid, he would always be very generous. However, after a short moment of surprise, someone else bid 650 million. This was a devil sect. 800 million. This time, it was Qing Zhongfan from the Quishan sect who bid. The devil sect was most similar to the cultivation of poison. Therefore, most of the bidders were from the devil sect. Only the background of the man in the black bamboo hat was unknown. 1 billion. The man in the black bamboo hat bid again, as if the money in his hands was not money at all, but just a number. 1 billion. The man from the devil sect continued to bid. 2 billion. Anyway, Qing Zhongfan was rich and overbearing to spend the money of his sect. He didn't feel the pinch at all. Just now, his senior brother had already told him that he could buy anything within 2 billion. Therefore he was at ease at this moment. 5 billion. The way the man in the black bamboo hat increased the price made everyone present speechless. He was just short of announcing in public that he was determined to get it. 2 billion. At this time, another group of dark horses appeared. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. It turned out to be the people from the 10,000 Medicine Valley. Treating people, saving people, selling medicine, and buying the 5 poison secrets might not be for cultivation but for research. However, his bid got rid of many competitors. Qing Zhongfan could only back out. His senior brother just said that it was within 2 billion. Now that it had arrived, he could only turn his head and look at his senior brother again. Forget it. His senior brother shook his head. We don't specialize in research. Even if we buy it, we might not be able to cultivate it. When the time comes, we will easily get into trouble. Although we are the #1 sect in the devil sect, it's not worth it if someone covets it because it's useless. Yes, I understand. Qing Zhongfan nodded. It seemed that his senior brother meant to buy it if it was not too expensive. If it was too expensive, then forget it. If it was too expensive, then it would be a double loss. And the devil sect who had previously bid also stopped at this moment. Because 2 billion was not something that any sect could take out. It had to be settled on the spot and could not be delayed. Therefore, even if some sects could take out the money, they couldn't come up with it in a short time. 5 billion. The man in the black bamboo hat spoke again. He didn't say much. After bidding, he shut his mouth. 3 billion. The man in the black bamboo hat bid again. 5 billion. The man in the black bamboo hat said unhurriedly. The people from the 10,000 Medicine Valley hesitated for a moment and gave up. It was true that the 10,000 Medicine Valley was rich, but it was really not worthwhile to take out more than 5 billion to buy a secret book that couldn't be used for cultivation. Even Xiao Qin himself didn't expect that it would be sold at a high price of 3.5 billion. It was valuable. The middle-aged man said that it was about 1 billion. It seemed that he had underestimated it. Of course, this was also because of the appearance of the nouveau riche, the man in the black bamboo hat. Without him, it would be impossible to have such a high price. Now Xiao Qin really wanted to shout 4 billion. However, in the end he didn't dare to. If the man in the black bamboo hat wasn't a nouveau riche, he would be ruined. 3.5 billion going once, 3.5 billion going twice, 3.5 billion going thrice. Sold. Xiao Fei was also a little shocked. The transaction price this time, 3.5 billion, could be said to be the largest single transaction price in the history of the auction. It was unprecedented. Of course, the value of this 5 poison secret book was also the highest. If it was real, then the person who cultivated it might be able to sweep the martial arts world. Chapter 749. The man in black bamboo hat didn't look at Xiao Fei at all. His eyes were fixed on the jade box in the hands of the staff. When the staff came, the man in black bamboo hat directly took out his bank card, completed the formalities and took the 5 poison secret book. He flipped through a few pages in his hand and put it into his pocket. However, he didn't take his hand out immediately. Instead, he fumbled for something. After a while he took out a talisman. It was the long-distance talisman that he had bought at the auction. He started to activate the long-distance talisman. The next moment, a white light flashed, and the man in black bamboo hat disappeared from the venue. This situation caused all the cultivators present to be dumbfounded, because everyone was looking at the man in black bamboo hat. After all, this guy was so generous that he bought a 5 poison secret book with 3.5 billion. However, they didn't expect that this man would use the long-distance talisman in front of everyone and disappear directly. Until this moment, everyone understood that this man must have planned this. Or he didn't plan it before, but after seeing the 5 poison secret book, he planned to escape. Everyone understood the possible consequences of this thing. If someone tried to rob it after the auction, it would inevitably cause great trouble for the man in black bamboo hat. Therefore it was better for him to leave first. In this way no one could find him. Although it was a little impolite for the auction host to do this, he was a big client after all. The auction wouldn't care much since he had spent 3.5 billion. Moreover, Xiao Qin secretly guessed that someone must have secretly tipped off the man in black bamboo hat before the auction, so the man in black bamboo hat bought the long-distance talisman in advance. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? Of course, Xiao Qin also understood this. It was understandable for the auction host to inform potential clients who might buy this kind of collection in advance so that the client could prepare some money in advance. After all, it was good for both the client and the auction host. The more money prepared, the more money the final auction price would be. Therefore Xiao Qin was happier. Moreover, Xiao Qin admired the man in black bamboo hat's approach very much. He was really a talent. In this way it saved a lot of trouble for Xiao Qin. Everyone's attention would be on the man in black bamboo hat who had bought the 5 poison secret book, and no one would care about who provided the secret book. Even if they thought about it later, Xiao Qin had already left. Xiao Qin wanted to thank the man in black bamboo hat for making such a farce, which made him so happy. Well, let's continue the auction. Although it's impolite to leave midway, our auction house doesn't restrict auctioneers from leaving midway. What if they have something important to say? Xiao Fei had to admit that it was Xiao Fei who could control the atmosphere, the man in of the black bamboo hat. He had to admit that Xiao Fei was very good at stirring up the atmosphere. The influence of the man in the bamboo hat had completely disappeared. Everyone's attention was shifted to her. With her graceful figure and charming smile, the mood became fanatical again. A few more items were sold at a high price. Xiao Qin was getting a little impatient from waiting. He wanted to leave after buying the meteoric iron from outer space. However, the auction was about to end and he still hadn't appeared. He was really anxious. The next item is the last auction item. It is also one of the finale items. Xiao Fei said to everyone with a smile, "I believe that many people have already guessed what it is. Yes, we have released the news of this auction item in advance. It is the meteoric iron." This meteoric iron was originally the first item to be auctioned in the middle of the auction. However, it was pushed down by the 5 poison secret book that Xiao Qin took out at the last moment. If Xiao Qin knew about this situation, he would probably regret it. However, he didn't know that the 5 poison secret book was so important. In his opinion, how important could the thing that Xia Qili wanted be? He didn't expect the result to be like this. However, Xia Qili's information network was not to be underestimated. Unexpectedly, she was able to inquire about this information. However, there was no time to think about this. After all, the purpose of this trip had come. Xiaoqun wanted to focus on winning this meteoric iron. I don't need to say more about the function of the meteoric iron. It can be used to forge weapons for martial artists. This was very difficult in the past. However, with today's technology, smelting it is not a problem. Xiao Fei briefly introduced the function of the meteoric iron. Then she smiled and said, the starting price of the meteoric iron is 50 million. Each increase must be no less than 20 million, 70 million, 100 million, 150 million. The price of the meteoric iron soared. Xiaoqun didn't join the bidding at the beginning because it was meaningless to do so. He didn't want to bother. So, he waited until the last moment when there were few people competing. Of course, Xiaoqun didn't bid, but he observed secretly. Among these people who participated in the bidding, most of them were from the righteous sections. There were few people from the demonic sections. This showed that this kind of hard weapon was very important for martial arts cultivation, but demonic cultivators didn't seem to care about this. Brother Yang, when are we going to make our move? Wang Chake asked in a low voice. He knew that although he had defected to Xiaoqun, he would still be the one bidding. At most, Xiaoqun would not abandon him. However, these risky things couldn't be done by Xiaoqun and others, right? Then what was the point of defecting? No hurry, wait a little longer. You don't have any psychological pressure. When you finish bidding and walk out of the venue, I will disguise myself as someone else and snatch the auction item from your hands. At that time you will not be noticed. After you go down the mountain, find a place to stay first and I will meet you again. Xiaoqun instructed. Then he turned to look at Song Huawu and Xia Shibin, saying, the few of you will go together. When the time comes, Wang Chake's things will be snatched away. Furthermore, there are many of you. No one will make things difficult for you. Xiaoqun had already planned it. The escape method of the black man in the bamboo hat inspired him so that people would ignore the original owner of the 5 Poisons secret book, but it was impossible to chase the black man in the bamboo hat. When Wang Chake auctioned the extraterrestrial meteoric iron, his physical characteristics would be firmly remembered. No matter where he ran, he might encounter people who coveted it, and he would be blocked by many parties. But if it was snatched away by Xiaoqun, it would be different. Xiaoqun would appear with a new face. Anyway, he could disguise himself as anyone. At that time, only the people nearby would see that Wang Chake was snatched away by him, and the others would not know. When he ran away, even if they wanted to chase him, these people would not be able to do anything. Everyone nodded. Although it was risky for Xiaoqun to run away, they also knew that at this time Xiaoqun's words were orders and they could not be questioned. They had to follow it to be safe. Finally, as the price soared, the people bidding gradually decreased, and there were only 2 left. What Xiaoqun did not expect was that it was actually the long-faced cultivator and the smiling Mithriya from before. These 2 people were sworn enemies. Once they were at each other's throats, there would be no end to it. It suddenly gave Xiaoqun a headache. At this moment, the price had soared to 500 million, which was already a high price for the extraterrestrial meteoric iron. But none of them had the intention to give up. 600 million. The price was still refreshing, and it was the smiling Mithriya who made the bid. Do what you want. 600 million it is. You just like to be a sucker. The long-faced cultivator curled his lips and gave up bidding. So what? The smiling Mithriya sneered. Wang Chake, make your move. Xiaoqun said. 620 million. Wang Chake raised his paddle and bid. Huh. The smiling Mithriya was taken aback, and then his face became extremely gloomy. His gaze swept over Wang Chake, and he found that it was exactly where Jing Xinxiang of the Greenstone sect was sitting. They must be a group. Motherf * Ker Greenrock sect, are all your people going against me? Are you trying to get back at me? Are you deliberately raising the price? Fine, I give up. I'll let you spend 620 million to buy it. Let's see if you can afford it. From the smiling Mithriya's point of view, Jing Xinxiang wanted to buy the 1,000-year purple snow lotus, but he gave up bidding because he did not have enough money. He was unwilling, so he pretended to leave first, and then found a friend to sit in his seat to make trouble for him. He did not believe that such an unknown small sect could spend 620 million to buy a piece of extraterrestrial meteoric iron. This was completely illogical. The smiling Mithriya was from the Joyful clan, so he had no use for this extraterrestrial meteoric iron. Could it be used as a prop for dual cultivation? Wasn't that bullshit *T? He participated in the bidding because he saw the long-faced cultivator make a move, so he could not help but jump in to make trouble. But now that he could cheat the Green Rock sect, why not? So he sneered and said, "Fine, since the Green Rock sect wants to buy it, I'll give it to you. I don't know what you're going to do when you go back. Don't tell me you want to be the sea stabilizer?" Xiao Qin was stunned. At first, he did not understand why the smiling Mithriya suddenly mentioned the Green Rock sect. But when he saw Wang Chake's seat, he immediately understood. It was Jing Xinxiang's seat previously. The smiling Mithriya obviously thought that Wang Chake was with Jing Xinxiang. His words could not be said to be without poison. Even if they could not snatch the extraterrestrial meteoric iron from Wang Chake in this auction, the monk could run, but the temple could not. When the time came, wouldn't it be easy to go directly to the Green Rock sect to find him? Xiao Qin did not expect this inadvertent action to implicate the Green Rock sect. Fortunately, he had thought of a countermeasure beforehand. After the auction, he would snatch the extraterrestrial meteoric iron from Wang Chake's hands. Otherwise, these people would really think that the Green Rock sect had won the auction. Smiling Tiger, you're quite good, huh? Damn it, if I don't harm you, I'll be letting down my title as a hedonistic young master. Just you wait. Xiao Qin thought to himself. Chapter 750. 620 million going once, 620 million going twice, 620 million going thrice. Sold. While Xiao Qin was thinking about it, Xiao Fei had already finalized the deal. The extraterrestrial meteoric iron became Wang Chake's. Because it was the last auction item, many people got up and prepared to leave after it ended. Some lecherous cultivators surrounded Xiao Fei. It was true that they coveted Xiao Fei, but what they wanted more was to win the beauty and build a relationship with the auction. This auction was held by a mysterious organization in the martial arts world. It was said that they were very powerful and financially strong, but no one knew which force, sect, or family it was. Even if they knew, they would not spread it. In short, these cultivators were dreaming of marrying a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. Xiao Qin was naturally not interested. He accompanied Wang Chake and the staff to swipe their cards to get the extraterrestrial meteoric iron. "Can we go to the office? There are too many people here," Xiao Qin suddenly said. "Oh, that's fine too." The staff was stunned. Generally, only those who had submitted the items would go to the office to get the money. Those who bought things usually swiped their cards on the spot. However, this was the last order for Xiao Qin and the others. The scene was indeed very noisy, so this proposal could not be said to be unreasonable. The staff took Xiao Qin and the others to the office. Wang Chake took out the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's card. He had already contacted the Supernatural Investigation Bureau through text messages. They had already transferred 620 million, so the procedure was successfully completed. "Thank you for your patronage." The staff handed the extraterrestrial meteoric iron box to Wang Chake. Wang Chake held it in his hand, but since Xiao Qin did not say he would leave, he naturally would not leave directly. Seeing that these people had no intention of leaving, the staff could not help but be stunned. He asked, "Is there anything else?" "Yes, it's like this." Xiao Qin said, "I had an auction item before. Can we settle it together? This is the receipt." As he spoke, Xiao Qin took out the receipt. He didn't look for the middle-aged man from before because that would be too conspicuous. He reckoned that someone with ulterior motives would figure out who went to the office to collect the money and analyze who took out the 5 poison secret manual. "Oh, this is no problem." The staff took the receipt and couldn't help but be surprised. It turned out to be the sender of the 5 poison secret book. However, although he was shocked as a staff member, he knew what to say and what not to say. He just said happily, "Wait a moment, let me verify it." As he spoke, he scanned the QR code and watermark on it, as well as the special identification information to verify that the receipt was real. He then said, "I've already transferred the auction proceeds, after deducting 20% of the commission, to the bank card you left behind. You can check it now." Even if Xiao Qin's receipt was real, it couldn't be transferred at will. It had to be transferred to the account that was left when the auction was first sent. This was also to prevent someone from stealing or robbing the auction receipt. In this way, no matter who came to exchange, the money would still be transferred to the original account. "Thank you." Xiao Qin's mobile phone received a notification that the money had been transferred to the account. He thanked the staff and left the office with Wang Chake and the others. Xiao Qin and the others went in and out of the office, but no one thought much about it. After all, Wang Chake was holding the extraterrestrial meteoric iron box in his hand. Everyone knew that they were going to handle this procedure. As for the middle-aged man's office, There were indeed a few people sneaking around the door, but they didn't go in. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Fortunately he had exchanged here. If he had gone in he might really have been suspected. They walked forward quietly until they were out of the auction hall. Although some people noticed them, no one dared to make a move. "Let's go to the restroom," said Xiao Chen. They did not question him at all. They walked to the public restroom on one side of the hall. After they entered, Xiao Chen looked around and confirmed that nobody else was here. Therefore he immediately said, "I will pretend to be the smiling Mithraea and rob you later. Wang Chake, you will pretend to chase after me and shout something to let everybody know that you have been robbed." Yes, of course. Wang Chake was extremely grateful. He knew that Xiao Chen was trying to save him. Otherwise, if everybody's attention was on him, he would not have a good time. Now that the auction item in his hand had been stolen, who would care about him? While talking, Xiao Chen entered an independent compartment and turned himself into the smiling Mithraea. Right now, Xiao Chen was no longer a beginner cultivator in the refinement stage. He was an actual expert in the building foundation stage. Therefore, his entire body was within the range of his transformation. In the blink of an eye, he had become exactly the same as the smiling Mithraea. Even someone as meticulous as Jin Beibei would not have recognized him. Wang Chake pretended to pee on the side, while Song Huawu stood at the door of the washroom and waited. Xia Shibin also pretended to be nonchalant as he lit a cigarette and leisurely walked around. After a while, footsteps came from the door of the restroom. It was two cultivators who had come to the restroom. They were obviously dazed when they saw Wang Chake. He was the guy who had won the last piece of the meteoric iron. They both remembered him. However, the two of them were from a small evil sect. The meteoric iron was useless to them and they were not very strong. Naturally, they would not think of robbing him. They merely took a few glances at him. Right then, the door of one of the cubicles was suddenly opened, and a fat man rushed out. Without saying anything, he grabbed the auction item in Wang Chake's hand and ran away. Because Wang Chake was focused on peeing with one hand, and only one of his hands was free, he did not grab it very tightly. Therefore Xiao Chen's attack succeeded. Ah! Robbery! Wang Chake turned pale with fright. He did not even have time to pull up his pants and rushed out to chase after the smiling Mithraea. Half of his pants was still out. Song Huawu secretly spat and turned her head, secretly cursing Wang Chake for being so thick-skinned. He even dared to run out like this. It was not that Wang Chake did not want to pull up his pants, but he wanted to act more realistically. Who would care about anything else when being robbed? Even if he had to run naked, he had to chase after it. Xia Shibin also ran out with a cigarette in his mouth. He pointed at the smiling Mithraea in front and shouted, "F***ck your grandma. You can't compete in the auction, so you want to rob it openly?" Everyone helped to stop him. Outside the restroom, a few cultivators who were coveting the meteoric iron saw the smiling Mithraea rushing out with a jade box in his hand. They were stunned for a moment. When they heard Wang Chake and Xia Shibin's shouts behind them, they immediately understood. However, at this time Xiao Chen had already run far away. It was not easy to chase after him. Moreover, these people were not fools. The smiling Mithraea of the Joyful clan was famous. He was a demon general level expert who had been famous for a long time and was not a weak one. All these years he seldom made a move. No one knew if his strength had improved further now. Who would dare to act rashly at this moment? Wang Chake, Xia Shibin and Song Huawu frantically ran all the way forward. Wang Chake's crotch was still hanging halfway and he had not put it back. The scene was very comical, but none of the cultivators present found it funny. Their attention was focused on the smiling Mithraea. Everyone had different thoughts. Those cultivators who had designs on Wang Chake could not help but be disappointed. The smiling Mithraea had snatched the item away. In that case they basically had no hope. They were not a match for the smiling Mithraea. Wasn't it courting death to intercept him? Moreover, the people from the Joyful clan were very evil and ruthless. They would not do things that would cost their lives if they failed to rob. Xiao Chen exerted his speed to the limit and ran desperately. However, he was surprised to find that other than Wang Chake and the others chasing after him, there were no other cultivators chasing after him. While he was puzzled, he roughly figured it out. This smiling Mithraea was probably a ruthless person. It was no wonder that when this person opened his mouth at the auction, only the long-faced cultivator dared to. Damn. Just as Xiao Chen thought of the long-faced cultivator, the long-faced cultivator appeared. Xiao Chen was so shocked that he almost threw the jade box out. What the heck, I can't be that lucky, right? However, the truth was in front of him. Xiaoqun saw the long-faced cultivator standing in the middle of the road not far away. It was obvious that he was intercepting him. He secretly lamented in his heart. Why was he so unlucky? Of all people he had to meet this guy. Although Xiaoqun did not know how powerful the long-faced cultivator was, to be able to go against this smiling Mithriya, he was obviously not ordinary. Hee, smiling Mithriya, I really didn't expect you to be doing this kind of robbing business. The long-faced cultivator grinned and mocked. However, you are unlucky to meet me. Leave the item behind. Don't force me to take action against you. Xiaoqun was helpless but had no other choice. No matter how he could fight against enemies of a higher level or how he had a sure kill method, he had no confidence at all when facing the long-faced cultivator. After hesitating for a while, countless thoughts flashed through Xiaoqun's mind. Finally, he gritted his teeth and said, Senior, I am not the smiling Mithriya. I am pretending to be him to frame him. Ah, that's really funny. The long-faced cultivator subconsciously wanted to mock and ridicule him. However, after thinking carefully, he paused. Are you telling the truth? Of course it's true. How could this junior dare to lie to senior? Xiaoqun said with a bitter smile. You are from the Green Rock sect? The long-faced cultivator suddenly asked. That's right. Xiaoqun knew that it was better to admit that he was from the Green Rock sect. It would be easier for the long-faced cultivator to believe him. However, he was also very strange. This long-faced cultivator seemed to believe him very easily. He had only casually said that he was not the smiling Mithriya, and the other party seemed to believe most of it. Circulate your mental cultivation method and let me see, the long-faced cultivator said. Chapter 751. Yes, senior. Xiaoqun directly activated a fireball technique and smashed it on the roadside. You can go now. The long-faced cultivator suddenly waved his hand. Ah, thank you, senior. Xiaoqun did not expect things to go so smoothly. He said a few words and the long-faced cultivator let him go. But this was a good thing. He did not have time to think about it and continued to run forward. The long-faced cultivator sneered. The smiling Mithriya, you have such a day? You've been framed, haven't you? Ah, you'll have a good time this time. However, this kid from the Green Rock sect is a bit interesting. The reason why he believed it before was that he knew the smiling Mithriya too well. This old rival of his was a person who valued his reputation. If he met him, he would rather fight to the death than lie humbly and say that he was not the smiling Mithriya. What's more, asking him to call him senior? That would really be like the sun rising from the west. This was simply impossible. From the smiling Mithriya's prideful behavior at the auction, it could be seen that he was not the kind of person who would give in. Moreover, the fireball technique that Xiaoqun activated was not the smiling Mithriya's martial technique at all. This guy did not know this kind of martial technique at all, so it could be completely ruled out. Since it was to frame the smiling Mithriya, of course he would cooperate. As for the extraterrestrial meteoric iron, he would not snatch it. The long-faced cultivator was self-confident in his strength and did not bother to rob the younger generation. Of course, it was also because he was more upright and disdained to do so. Not long after Xiaoqun ran, Wang Chake, Xia Shibin and Song Huawu caught up. The long-faced cultivator was stunned when he saw that Wang Chake's trousers were still hanging down. What's going on? When Wang Chake and the others saw the long-faced cultivator, they were also shocked. No way. Xiaoqun ran this way just now. Didn't that mean that he had already met the long-faced cultivator? In that case, with the grudge between this horse-faced cultivator and the smiling Mithriya, wouldn't Xiaoqun be in danger? However, they couldn't reveal their thoughts and could only pretend to chase after Huha. Their footsteps were much slower as they wanted to see if the horse-faced cultivator had a jade box or something like that. However, the horse-faced cultivator had a backpack on him. They were unable to see anything, causing them to feel anxious. When the long-faced cultivator saw the people chasing after them, a smile appeared on his face. If it weren't for Xiaoqun's earlier showdown, he naturally wouldn't have been able to guess so much. Now that he saw them slowing down, he immediately understood that they were in cahoots and were putting on an act. He couldn't help but find it a little funny. The people of the Green Rock sect were really talented. They actually used this method to avoid being robbed and even framed the smiling Mithriya. It was really amazing. Not bad, very appetizing. As long as the smiling Mithriya could be defeated, the long-faced cultivator would be very happy. Therefore, when he saw that they were nervous, he said for the first time, "He's in front. It's fine. Continue acting." Wang Chake was stunned. He couldn't help but look at the long-faced cultivator meaningfully. Senior, you mean? Hee hee, you know what I mean. Go on. The long-faced cultivator waved his hand. Wang Chake felt reassured. Seeing how friendly this horse-faced cultivator was, he knew that he must have reached some sort of agreement with Xiao Chen. Wang Chake felt at ease. Xia Shibin and Song Huawu felt the same way. Just as they were about to continue chasing, 5 cultivators ran out from the side and instantly surrounded Wang Chake, the group, and even the long-faced cultivator. Don't talk nonsense. Take out the items from the auction. One of the cultivators in the lead said. He was a level 1 martial general expert. When he swung his fist, he revealed his full strength. Take out what? Get out of the way. I'm chasing after someone. Wang Chake was instantly enraged. Shouting? Kid, your style is quite unique. The front of your pants is half exposed. Are you trying to defy the heavens? The leading cultivator looked at Wang Chake carefully. When he saw his attire, he was immediately amused. You can get out of the way but hand over the items. This place is very close to the auction. I don't want to kill people. You better be more self-conscious. What are you talking about? The items have been stolen. Why don't you chase after them with me? Although Wang Chake looked very anxious, he was actually trying to buy time. If he caught up with Xiao Chen, it would not be fun. What's stolen? Kid, don't lie to me. Do you think I'm an idiot? The leading cultivator sneered, not believing him at all. I'm not lying. You want to steal the meteoric iron, right? At this time, the long-faced cultivator spoke. You're from the floating flower sect. The leading cultivator hadn't noticed the long-faced cultivator before. Now that he saw him, he was shocked. He was so shocked that his legs turned to jelly. The long-faced cultivator was not at his level. He could kill him in a second. The meteoric iron in his hand was stolen by the smiling Mithraea. He has already run away. Many people saw this. The long-faced cultivator said lightly. You stopped him from chasing after him. I guess he has already disappeared. Senior, is this true? The leading cultivator obviously knew the long-faced cultivator's character. If he had stolen something, he would not lie. There was no need for him to lie. Although they had more people on their side, they were no match for him. Do you think I would lie? The long-faced cultivator's face darkened. No, I wouldn't dare. The leading cultivator was a little hesitant. Should he chase after Xiao Chen or continue to interrogate Wang Chake? At this time, a few cultivators who were watching from behind also caught up. When they saw that Wang Chake was surrounded, they could not help but ask, Did you catch up? Don't mention it. I was chasing him, but these people stopped me. Wang Chake complained angrily. How can I chase him now? He's long gone. Xiao Chen turned around and came back, but the meteoric iron had been put into his backpack. His current appearance had also changed to that of Yang Jianan. How is it? How did such a big thing happen while I was taking a dump? I heard that the smiling Mithraea stole the meteoric iron. Did you catch up? Xiao Chen ran over and asked in a hurry. No. I'm really unlucky this time. Wang Chake said angrily. Big brother, look at these people. They surrounded me and delayed me. Humph, who surrounded you? Don't talk nonsense. The leading cultivator was now clear that the meteoric iron had really been stolen by the smiling Mithraea. If it was someone else who had stolen it, he could still try to chase after him. But the smiling Mithraea was in existence with the same strength as the long-faced cultivator. Therefore, he quietly let his men disperse and did not admit that he had surrounded Wang Chake. Otherwise, he would not get the meteoric iron and be treated as a robber. That would not be good. Then let's hurry up and chase after him. Xiao Chen yelled. We can't catch up. Wang Chake said with some frustration. Forget it, it's too late. No way, we spent so much money I didn't expect. Xiao Chen looked disappointed. The long-faced cultivator looked at Xiao Chen and smiled meaningfully. Okay, don't surround him. Disperse. If you have the ability to watch the fun, go and chase after the smiling Mithraea. With the long-faced cultivator's words, everyone also dispersed. The leading cultivator had long wanted to leave. It was his carelessness that spoiled the matter. He was afraid that the long-faced cultivator would blame him for this matter. Xiao Chen and the rest walked down the mountain dejectedly. By this time, the news that they had been robbed by the smiling Mithraea had already spread. If someone bumped into them, they would at most point at them. No one had any intentions of robbing them anymore. Several people arrived at the parking lot safely. They didn't stop. They got in the car directly and drove away quickly. Brother Yang, your trick is amazing. We deceived all these people. Wang Chake gave a thumbs up in admiration. Come on, look at you. It's really embarrassing. You didn't even fasten your pants. Song Huawu said with some contempt. Haha, didn't I want to act realistically? If I had the time to fasten my pants, would I still be robbed? Wang Chake smiled indifferently. How about it, Brother Yang? My sacrifice is quite big, right? I exposed myself for the sake of acting. Not bad. Xiaoqin nodded. Chake, in the future when you join our group, don't think too much. We will definitely treat you like a friend, but if you want to betray us, I won't let you go. I understand, Brother Yang. You treat me better than Song Billion. In today's situation, even Song Billion, that old thing, would choose to give up on me. With this comparison, I know how good you are to me, Brother Yang. Wang Chake said gratefully. Well, if that's the case, then I won't say much. It depends on your performance in the future. Xiaoqin nodded. Drive directly to Lan City and hand the extraterrestrial meteoric iron to the Research Institute for research. In order to avoid trouble, Xiaoqin planned to send the extraterrestrial meteoric iron to the Research Institute. In this way, those martial arts sects who coveted it couldn't do anything. They were different from foreign terrorist spy organizations. They didn't dare to openly rob the Military Advisors Research Institute. That was undoubtedly equivalent to courting death. Therefore, even if they knew, it would be of no help. They didn't have the guts to go against the armed forces. When the time came, they just had to be wary of people like Kai Wuliang. The car rushed all the way and finally arrived at Lan City in the middle of the night. It went directly to the gate of the Military Research Institute and was stopped. Because the car didn't have the license plate of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, there was no pass in front of the car. Xia Shibin, who was driving, showed his ID. The deputy leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team C. This title was loud enough, but to everyone's surprise, the gatekeeper said, "Sorry, I have to ask for instructions." Instructions? Xia Shibin was immediately unhappy. We have something important to do. Hurry up and let us in. Why does the Supernatural Investigation Bureau need to ask for instructions before coming here? What do you mean? I'm the deputy leader of Team C. Why do I need to ask for instructions? Chapter 752. The guard was actually in a difficult position. He had to tell the truth. I'm sorry, Deputy Team Leader Xia. A deputy director of your Supernatural Investigation Bureau is here, so everyone who comes here has to report. If I let people in privately, I will be punished? Deputy director? Is it a liar? Xia Shibin was stunned. Xiaoqin spoke at this time. He looked at the guard and asked, You said that the deputy director is here. Who is it? I'm sorry. I can't reveal it. The guard said carefully. How can you talk like this? This is our deputy director Yang. The person who came is a deputy director. Our brother Yang is also a deputy director. They are of the same rank. Xia Shibin was a little annoyed. Ah? The guard was stunned and looked at Xiaoqin in disbelief. I'm Yang Jianan. You should know me. I was responsible for solving the theft of the chip data here. Xiaoqin said, This is my ID. Xiaoqin was polite. He wasn't as angry as Xia Shibin because the guard was also doing things according to the rules. There was no need to make things difficult for him. The guard did hear about Yang Jianan. At this moment he was shocked. This was a powerful person. He went to Lego Town to retrieve the encrypted chip. This matter had already spread in this military research base. At this time he was a little excited to see him in person. He checked Xiaoqin's ID and found that his rank was really a deputy director. He quickly said, Deputy Director Yang, Deputy Director Song is here? Song Billion? Xiaoqin frowned after listening. What is he doing here? I don't know, but Deputy Director Yang, please come in. The guard said quickly. There was no need to report. With Xiaoqin's rank he could freely enter and exit here. Xiaoqin nodded and let Xia Shibin start the car. They drove into the military research base. Brother Yang, where are we going now? Asked Xia Shibin. You drive first. Walk around here. I want to see what Song Billion is doing, said Xiaoqin. Okay, Brother Yang. Xia Shibin started the car and walked around the research base. Xiaoqin's perception was very keen. Soon Xiaoqin found the problem. You park the car in front of the banquet hall over there. Xiaoqin said, pointing not far away. Okay. Xia Shibin responded and parked the car in front of the door. Everyone is hungry, right? It's a hard journey. Let's eat something first. Xiaoqin got out of the car first, pushed open the restaurant's door and walked in. Xia Shibin, Wang Chake and Song Huawu followed closely behind. Who are you? A banquet is being held here, please do not barge in. A guard at the entrance of the restaurant immediately rushed over and stopped Xiao Chen and the others. Xiao Chen glanced at the guard and knew that he did not recognize him. The last time he came to carry out a mission, he had always appeared as Xiao Chang. Now that he was Yang Jianan, it was normal that he did not recognize him. Yang said, Xiao Yang Yang. Xiao Yang, to Yang Xiao, to Yang. The guard was stunned. I'm sorry. The senior leaders of your Supernatural Investigation Bureau are having a meal here, so please don't disturb them. Presumptuous. This is also a senior leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. How can Song Billion the old bastard eat inside? Our brother Yang came here after completing a mission from thousands of miles away. Can't he have a meal? Wang Chake jumped out directly. In order to show that he had completely sided with Xiao Chen, he said loudly. If he slandered Song Billion in public, he wouldn't be able to go back. He was also using this to prove his intentions to Xiao Chen. The guard was a little stunned. After listening to this, he was in a dilemma and didn't know how to deal with it. In his opinion, Wang Chake shouldn't be a liar. If he could enter the research base openly, he must be a person with a proper identity. Such a person shouldn't be a liar. Just when he didn't know what to do, a voice sounded in the restaurant. Who broke in? Dr. Su, your management isn't good, right? I think there are big loopholes. I heard that someone broke in at the door. With your management model, no wonder the data was stolen last time. Dr. Su was a little embarrassed after listening. He was naturally the person in charge of this research base, Suinda. He wasn't good at socializing with people. His whole life was dedicated to learning. He wasn't interested in these superficial things. Today, Song Billion suddenly visited and said that he wanted to invite Suinda to dinner, but Suinda had a research project in his hand. He couldn't spare any time at all. Even if he was free, he wouldn't easily participate in this kind of unofficial dinner. After all, his identity was a bit sensitive. What if the other party wanted to steal some research secrets from his mouth? Although it should be impossible with Song Billion's identity, he was already used to it. He really wouldn't go to an unfamiliar person's treat. But it doesn't matter. My junior is a top student. Not only is he good at management, but his skills are also very good. He is also an overseas returnee. His knowledge is also very good. He is the most suitable person to work as a coordinator here. Song Billion said, I still need Dr. Su to take care of me in the future. This is easy. Suinda had a headache. He wasn't good at this kind of social interaction. He didn't know where this Song Billion got his connections and arranged his junior to work at the research base. The procedures were already done, but Suinda just found out about it. In the past, when the research base recruited newcomers, they would go through strict screening. Especially after the last incident, it was even more so. Suinda didn't expect Song Billion to arrange someone to come in without saying a word. Of course, Song Billion must have used the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's channel. In the name of the mission, he could arrange someone to come in. This made Suinda helpless. Well, who is outside the door? Why aren't you leaving? I'll go and see for myself. Whoever dares to be rash here, I'll slap him to death. Song Billion stood up. He intended to show his power and let Suinda see his power. However, just as he stood up, a voice sounded. Song Billion, who do you want to slap to death? Yang Jianan? Song Billion looked at the person and was shocked. Why are you here? You're quite good, aren't you? You even learned to arrange jobs for others? How much did you get? Xiao Chen said sarcastically with a smile that wasn't a smile. Yang Jianan, don't talk nonsense. This is my junior, a real outstanding talent. Song Billion said seriously, recently the research base has been having problems, so I recommended a young talent. How can this be considered arranging a job? Up to you. Xiao Chen waved his hand and ignored him. He casually sat on the main seat where Song Billion was just now and said to the staff standing at the side, give me a new set of chopsticks. I want to eat. Yang Jianan, what are you doing? Don't go too far. This is my position. Song Billion suddenly became furious. I want to impeach you at the meeting. You are arrogant and condescending. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you are with Xia Zhili, the old man. Song Billion, isn't it a bit magical for you to say this? Xiao Chen smiled and said, it's normal for me to come here. But for you, you came here for no reason. Did you ask for leave? Have you talked to Deputy Bureau Chief Ling? Then why did you talk to him? Song Billion asked, shouldn't you be performing tasks at the auction now? How did you come here? Could it be that you messed up the task and didn't dare to go back, so you came here to show off? Idiot. Wang Chake rolled his eyes and glanced at Song Billion. When Brother Yang came here, he naturally completed the task. Then he escorted the meteoric iron to the research base and had a celebration banquet. Who do you think you are? You dare to talk nonsense in front of Brother Yang. I think you don't want to live anymore, right? Brother Yang can send you to outer space with a slap and let you develop Mars. Wang Chake, you're rebelling. Song Billion suddenly became furious. If Xiao Qin scolded him, he wouldn't be so angry. After all, Xiao Qin and he were enemies, but Wang Chake was his man. You're really right. I'm rebelling. What about it? I'm following Brother Yang now. Wang Chake looked at Song Billion proudly as if he was going to piss him off. Good, very good. Song Billion was so angry that he didn't know what to say. Yeah, you're right. I'm good now. Wang Chake smiled. Yang Jianan, you actually got the meteoric iron and you're unscathed? Song Billion looked at the four of them and felt a little incredible. Why, Song Billion, do you want to curse us? Or are you saying that your ability is too bad that you think we can't do this? Xiao Qin asked mockingly. It's nothing. Song Billion shook his head with some disappointment. Although Yang Jianan, the deputy bureau chief, took advantage of Xiao Qin, now Yang Jianan also made a great contribution. He brought the meteoric iron to the research base unscathed. This contribution was beyond doubt. He was a little worried that it wouldn't take long for Yang Jianan's ranking to be ahead of him. After all, the status of the newcomer group and the C group was basically the same in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. If Yang Jianan was ahead of him, then he would have a hard time. Dr. Su, I'll leave little Song's matter to you. I'll go first. Song Billion knew that he would be slapped in the face if he stayed here. It was better to leave as soon as possible. Uncle I. A young man named Little Song glanced at Song Billion and stood up. It was naturally not suitable for him to stay here for dinner. You go with me. Come here tomorrow to report. Song Billion waved his hand. Okay, uncle. Little Song stood up and followed Song Billion to leave. He turned to Dr. Su and said respectfully, Dr. Su, I'll leave first. I'll come here tomorrow to report. Chapter 753. Okay. Dr. Su's impression of Little Song was quite good. He was polite and seemed to be really talented. He was the talent that the research base needed. The person in charge of the computer center had left and the position was vacant. It was a good opportunity for Little Song to take over. However, Song Billion's method of arranging for people to come in without notifying them made Su Inda a little uncomfortable. After Song Billion and Little Song left, Xiao Qin said enthusiastically, Uncle Su, we meet again. Su Inda was stunned. It's me, Xiao Chang. Have you forgotten? You even wanted to marry your daughter to me last time? Xiao Qin laughed. Wow, it's you? Su Inda immediately became enthusiastic. How did you change? I don't even recognize you anymore. I thought you were as arrogant as Deputy Bureau Chief Song. Alright, how did you become the Deputy Bureau Chief? Weren't you the team leader of Team C last time? And I was promoted because of the previous mission. Xiao Qin did not elaborate. This is another appearance. You know, when we, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, carry out missions, we have several appearances. I understand. Su Inda said, so, you also got the extraterrestrial meteoric iron? You brought it here? Can I see it? Yes, I think it's safer to send it directly to the research base. Xiao Qin said, but let's eat first. My subordinates are hungry too. That's true. I was too impatient. Alright, Xiao Zhang, go to the kitchen and get some hot food. Su Inda said to his subordinates. No need. This is not cold. There's no need to waste it. Xiao Qin laughed. He was not too particular about these things. He had experienced the days of selling breakfast in the morning market. How could he be extravagant? Moreover, Song Billion had not eaten much. He had just poured the wine and said a few words before he was chased away by Xiao Qin. Xiao Chang, you and I both like each other. Why don't I marry my daughter to you? You are not arrogant and you are capable. Su Inda said appreciatively, haha, I'm just joking. You don't have to be nervous. It won't ruin your relationship with Sour. I know. Xiao Qin was speechless. There was nothing going on between him and Sour, right? Alright, I won't joke around anymore. Are you all hungry? Everyone, please take your seats. Su Inda still preferred to deal with Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin's style made people feel comfortable, unlike Song Billion who was always high and mighty. After Xiao Qin invited Xia Shibin, Song Huawu, and Wang Chake to take their seats. Everyone began to eat. Because they were really hungry, there was no need for empty words. Su Yinda breathed a sigh of relief. By the way, who did Song Billion send in just now? Xiao Qin suddenly thought of Xiao Song. It said that he's a junior of his, but he's also quite capable. He's an overseas returnee and is good at coordinating work. Our research base just happens to need such a talent. Su Yinda said, it's just that we didn't inform him in advance and suddenly brought him in. Moreover, the procedures and so on have been completed. I'm a little surprised. Xiao Qin nodded. Su Yinda was the highest person in charge of this research base. Song Billion had indeed gone overboard by sending someone in without informing him in advance. Is there any problem with this person? The most important thing in the research base now is not talent, but safety. If there's another spy like before, it won't be fun. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau has reviewed it. There shouldn't be any problem, right? Su Yinda said, only they can review it. I don't have the ability to review these things here. Xiao Qin didn't say anything more. Song Billion's side must have been handled properly. However, logically speaking, there shouldn't be any problem with Song Billion's junior, so he didn't pay any more attention to it and ate with everyone. Song Billion took Xiao Song out of the research base. In the car, Xiao Song handed a small card to Song Billion and said, Uncle, thank you so much. This is the 20 million me that we agreed on in advance. It's an anonymous foreign bank card. Please check it. Xiao Song, you're too polite. Song Billion put the bank card in his pocket and smiled slightly. But let's make this clear. You can't tell others that you're here. Also, don't make trouble for me. Don't worry, Uncle. My dad just wants me to have a decent job. I won't say anything. If I say anything, won't I lose my job too? Xiao Song smiled. Song Billion nodded. He knew about Xiao Song's family background. He was a distant relative of his. In fact, he also helped the Song family to manage a business in the secular world. He was indeed not short of money. Although he only took 10% of the profits every year and had to give the rest to the Song family, it was still an astronomical figure. Therefore, Song Billion didn't even think about refusing his filial piety. Moreover, Xiao Song was now a scientist in the research base. It was also very dignified to say it out loud. Okay, you work hard. If you do well, I'll find a way to promote you. Promotion won't be a problem. Song Billion said. Thank you so much, Uncle. Xiao Song said happily. In Songning City, Tang Tang looked at the identification report in her hand. She was in a daze. It was indeed the blood of her closest relatives. Both bottles were of the same blood, and they were not from the same person because the blood type was different. At this moment, Tang Tang already believed what the mysterious woman said before. Her parents did not die, but they really went to the poison sect. It turned out that they didn't want to abandon her, but they had no choice. Knowing the truth, Tang Tang was a little conflicted. Should she go or not? As a child, when she learned that her parents were in trouble, she had to stand up for them. However, Tang Tang's only doubt was whether the mysterious woman would keep her promise and let her mother go after she went. She didn't doubt that her mother was in the poison sect, but whether the mysterious woman would keep her promise. Just when she didn't know what to choose, the figure of the mysterious woman appeared out of thin air in the room again. Tang Tang was slightly shocked, but she was not surprised. This woman came and went without a trace. Obviously, she had a very powerful strength which was beyond normal imagination. Therefore, no matter how powerful Xiao Chen was, he was definitely no match for this mysterious woman. Tang Tang didn't want to cause trouble for Xiao Chen. She vaguely guessed that this woman should be from the martial arts world. Cheng Minjing, Shen Jingxian, and Jin Beibei were all taken away by sects outside the martial arts world, but Xiao Chen had no way to deal with it. Therefore, Tang Tang simply didn't say these things. Tang Tang, you should know the result, right? How about it? Have you made a decision? Asked the mysterious woman. Oh, you're here. Tang Tang looked up at the mysterious woman and said lightly. Tang Tang, maybe you didn't believe what I said before, but you should believe it now. The mysterious woman took out a jade box, which floated in front of Tang Tang. What's this? Tang Tang was slightly stunned. Open it and you'll know. The mysterious woman smiled gently. Tang Tang opened the jade box with some doubts and saw an antique booklet in it. There were 4 words written on it, 5 poison secrets. Tang Tang was slightly surprised. The peerless martial art you mentioned is this 5 poison secrets? You got it? Of course. Now you won't doubt what I said, right? The mysterious woman was actually very surprised. She was also informed by the auction at the last minute that there was a 5 poison secrets, which made her very excited. She had originally gone to the auction to see if there were any rare medicinal herbs that could be used to refine poison, but in the end, there was such a pleasant surprise. It turned out that she was the person in the black bamboo hat at the auction. She didn't expect that she was a woman. If everyone knew that such a precious 5 poison secrets was casually thrown in front of Tang Tang, they would probably be shocked to death. Is this true? Tang Tang glanced at it and asked. It should be true. I've seen it. It's almost the same as the sex records. The mysterious woman said, after you cultivate it, you can have a peerless martial art. Don't you want to give it a try? After I leave with you, can you really let my parents go? Asked Tang Tang. There's no need to lie to you. With her current situation, it's not suitable for her to cultivate the 5 poison secrets, and you are the best candidate. The mysterious woman said, I think that since you're about to join the poison sect, there should be more trust between us and not deception. I won't lie to you and make you hate me in the future because I don't dare to offend an expert who can sweep the martial arts world. Don't you think so? Then my mother, her body is like this now. Is she not going to live for long? Xiao Qin hesitated for a moment and carefully asked. If you master the divine skill, then her life and death will be in your hands. You can help to absorb and dissolve the poison in her body, and she will become an ordinary person, a real ordinary person, said the mysterious woman. She won't be troubled by her physique anymore. Tang Tang nodded. In fact, she now believed the mysterious woman. Although this mysterious woman had always been very mysterious, it seemed that she never wanted to lie to her, nor would she use force on her. Instead, she honestly told her some facts. However, in this way Tang Tang felt that they were equal, and the mysterious woman also gave her enough respect. Let me think about it. Tang Tang sighed. If I go with you, will I not be able to come back? Not in a short period of time. We want to stimulate your poison body, so there is a process. When you truly cultivate this 5 poison secret book and reach a certain level, you can walk the martial arts world. The mysterious woman said, at that time, your strength might be higher than mine and I'm very free now. What do you think? I don't want to lie to you, you can judge based on my current situation. Chapter 754. I believe you. Tang Tang said, I have thought about it. How can I contact you? I will come every day until you agree or not, the mysterious woman said. If I refuse, will you be very disappointed? Will you force me? Tang Tang suddenly asked. I will be disappointed, but there is no need to force me. If you don't cooperate, it's useless for me to take you back. The mysterious woman shook her head. Okay, then come tomorrow. I will give you an answer. Tang Tang said. That's settled. After the mysterious woman finished speaking, she left with a fragrant wind. She came and went without a trace. With her speed, no one could catch up with her at the auction without the long-distance charm. She used that because she didn't want to expose her identity. Tang Tang looked at the back of the mysterious woman and sighed faintly. She realized that there were many times when she could not control herself. She now understood Xiao Qin very well. Actually, it should be said that she had always understood Xiao Qin. She had said those things to Xiao Qin previously because she was afraid that he would worry about her. She and Xiao Qin were a couple who had gone through thick and thin together. How could they just break up? However, some things couldn't be changed by individual ability. Tang Tang shook her head. Since she had made the decision, she planned to go out and get something to eat. Because she was in a bad mood, she hadn't eaten for a day. Sister Tang, why haven't I seen you for a day? Where did you go? Yu Xiaochuan was surprised to see Tang Tang. Do you think my dress looks good? Do you think Xiao Chen's boss will like it? You're crazy. Tang Tang glanced at him and threw out 2 words. Then she ignored him and walked to the kitchen of the villa. Although the Xiao family had a restaurant, every villa had a separate small kitchen with some fast food in the refrigerator. Yu Xiaochuan didn't care. He continued to hum and try on the dress. You are my little dress. It looks so good on me. Tang Tang just took a sip of milk and spat it out. Wang Tietio gathered Wang Benbin and Wang Fantian together and held a family meeting. What do you guys think? Did that little bastard Xiao Qin really run away? Wang Tietio had lived for several days, but he didn't see Xiao Qin at all. Therefore he was basically sure that Xiao Qin was not in the Xiao family. Father, I think it must be like this. If that's the case, it won't look good if we're still here. Let's go back. Wang Benpai said, besides, it's not convenient to handle the family business here. You don't have a phone? Don't you have WeChat? Is there no video? Wang Tietio glared at Wang Benbin and said angrily, Exploding heavens, what do you think? I say. Grandpa, it's meaningless to stay here. If we stay here, Boss Xiaoqun will definitely not come back. Why don't we go back first and wait for him to come back? Wang Fantian suggested. Not bad, exploding the sky is a good idea. If he comes, we'll come. If he leaves, we'll leave. Wang Qiuqiu nodded his head in satisfaction. Run, you should learn. You're already an adult, so why can't you do it? Even your son is better than you. Yes. Wang Benben almost burst into tears. Is there any difference between what I said and what he said? It's just that the statements are different. If that's the case, then we'll say goodbye in a while and then return to Tianfang. Wang Qiuqiu made the final decision. On the other side, Xiaoqun finished his meal and handed over the extraterrestrial meteoric iron to Su Inda. After completing the formalities, it was time to leave. Xiaoqun wasn't a member of the research base. He wasn't as annoying as Song Bilian, who came here to eat and drink even when he had nothing to do. Early the next morning he returned to Tianfang province by car. He had to go back and submit his mission. When he left the highway of Tianfang province, there was a business car in front of him. Xiaoqun found it familiar. He took a closer look at the car number. Damn, isn't this Wang Qiuqiu's car? They're back? Xiaoqun was shocked, but he thought that his current car belonged to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and he looked like Yang Jianan. Wang Qiuqiu shouldn't recognize him. Brother Yang, isn't that the Wang family's car? Xia Shibin, who was driving, also recognized it, but he thought that Wang Chake was still in the car, so he didn't say anything more. And it's the Wang family's. Xiaoqun was still very happy. Wang Qiuqiu finally left. Otherwise, it would be quite annoying to bother his grandfather at home all day long. Don't worry about them. Okay. Xia Shibin nodded and drove directly to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Last night, Xia Zhili had already learned the news that Xiaoqun had successfully completed the mission. He also knew that Song Bilian intervened in the personnel arrangement of the research base. However, the latter was irrelevant to him. The former was the focus of his concern. In the conference room, Xia Zhili looked at Ling Tian proudly and sighed. We're all here. Now it's the world of the young. I remember that every time we went to the auction to buy things, it wasn't so smooth. Either we were collectively ostracized by people who recognized the identity of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, or we were robbed, or we couldn't compete with others. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang not only offered a reasonable price, but he also delivered it safely to the research base. What kind of ability is this? I think such a talent should be promoted. We old people can't hinder the development of the young. Although he said it with a sigh, he didn't look unhappy. Instead, his face was full of smiles. Song Bilian's face was incomparably ugly. His ranking was above Yang Jianan. If Yang Jianan went one step further, wouldn't he catch up to him? However, he couldn't refute Xia Zhili's sarcastic words. He could only laugh dryly. Young people should experience more. Okay, let's not talk about this first. Ling Tian said, I just received a notice from the higher-ups. I was supposed to retire this year, but they asked me to postpone my retirement indefinitely and wait for the new appointment letter to arrive. As he said that, Ling Tian handed a document to everyone present. Xia Zhili's face changed. He worked hard for the position of Deputy Bureau Chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Now, a document shattered his dream. Although he didn't understand what the higher-ups meant, this document couldn't be faked. After Xia Zhili finished reading it, he passed it to Song Bilian. Song Bilian, on the other hand, was very happy. He was always afraid that Xia Zhili would be promoted. If Xia Zhili really got promoted, then he would be in trouble. However, now that Ling Tian postponed his retirement indefinitely, it meant that Xia Zhili no longer had a chance. No matter what the reason was, the result was good. The document was passed around. Xiaoqun didn't care. Actually, his impression of Ling Tian was quite good. At least this person was fair. It was good to have him take charge of the situation. Next, let's talk about Deputy Bureau Chief Yang. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang has established a great merit this time. Logically speaking, he should be promoted. However, because of some things before, everyone had a tacit understanding. This can only be considered as Deputy Bureau Chief Yang's merit. Ling Tian waved his hand. This matter was settled. Next, I'm going to talk about a very important matter. Everyone knows that the outer martial arts world has been planning for the Devil Gate Conference. It's the election for the Devil Gate leader. We have to follow up on this matter. After hearing this, everyone's expression turned serious. Even Song Bilian became serious. After all, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's control over the outer martial arts world was very weak. Although there was Team A to balance them, in reality Team A only cooperated with the outer martial arts world guilds. Basically, they only played a role in moderation. They couldn't control the ordinary aristocratic families like Team C and Team B did. They were already very weak. If the sects in the outer martial arts world joined forces, then the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wouldn't be able to interfere at all. Even the outer martial arts world guilds wouldn't be able to interfere with the Devil Gate. Everyone knows our current situation. If all the Devil Gate in the outer martial arts world joined forces and listened to the orders of the Devil Gate leader, it would definitely have a great impact on our management. Even Team A under my command wouldn't be able to interfere with the affairs of the outer martial arts world. This is quite disadvantageous for us, Ling Tian said. Deputy Director Ling, I think there's no need to be so worried. Let's not talk about whether these demonic sects can work together. Even if they do you think they will really listen to the orders of the demonic sect leader? Xiao Qin said, why should they listen to him? I feel that this is just a name. When it comes to interest, they will still do their own thing. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, you are wrong. Song Billion didn't let go of any opportunity to embarrass Xiao Chen. Although they may not be on good terms internally, they will be unified when facing outsiders. You don't have to argue. There are also several factions in our Supernatural Investigation Bureau, but when facing outsiders, aren't we also unified? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Song Billion to be so smart. Although the sect was different from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Xiao Chen didn't continue to refute. Yes, what Deputy Bureau Chief Song said makes sense. We must nip it in the bud. Ling Tian nodded and said. Okay, then how do we prevent it? Xia Zhili said, can we stop it? If we say a word, will the Devil Gate conference be cancelled? Does everyone think that is possible? Of course that's impossible. Ling Tian was a little embarrassed. He smiled bitterly and said, that is why we have to think of a way together. Deputy Bureau Chief Song said it so clearly and logically just now. I think we should let him speak. Xia Zhili narrowed his eyes and directly kicked the trouble to Song Billion. Didn't he say the most just now? Then let's continue. Deputy Bureau Chief Song, do you have a good plan? Ling Tian said, if this matter is handled well, it will be a great merit. I think the higher-ups don't agree to my retirement because of this, right? If there is trouble in the Wulin, I really can't retire here. After hearing this, Song Billion's heart moved slightly. He said indifferently, this is a great merit. It is an opportunity. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang is young and capable. I think we should let him handle this matter. No matter what, as long as this Devil Gate conference is destroyed, I am willing to step back and let him be ranked above me. Chapter 755. Oh. Ling Tian was slightly stunned. Xia Zhili frowned. Although Song Billion spoke of this matter in a dignified manner, and it seemed like he had sacrificed a lot, in reality, it was basically impossible for Xiao Qin to disrupt the demon sect's gathering. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Therefore, Song Billion would not suffer any losses. On the other hand, Xiao Qin would be too embarrassed to mention his promotion in the future because he did not complete this task. However, Xia Zhili did not say anything. He wanted to see what Xiao Qin thought. Although it was obviously impossible, what if Xiao Qin had a way? Now that Xiao Qin had surprised him again and again, he was full of confidence in Xiao Qin. He felt that Xiao Qin could create miracles. Deputy Bureau Chief Song, I don't think it's good to give this task to Deputy Bureau Chief Yang. After all, his personal ability is limited. This is a group matter, not a child's play. Ling Tian frowned and said, I know what you are thinking, but if this kind of thing is messed up, it will not benefit either of us. Song Billion's face suddenly turned red. Ling Tian clearly saw through his thoughts. At this time he was a little embarrassed. I was thinking that Deputy Bureau Chief Yang is a young talent. Since he is capable, he should be more tolerant. It's not a big deal. Oh. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, what do you think? Ling Tian hesitated and asked. I can only say that we can try. Xiao Qin was still very concerned about the affairs of the outer martial arts world, especially when it involved the Kuei Mountain sect. Xiao Qin was not willing to let it go easily. Now that there was such a legitimate opportunity to investigate, Xiao Qin really had to thank Song Billion. However, there were some things that had to be made clear. After all, the Devil Gate conference was not something that Xiao Qin could stop alone. If Xiao Qin could stop this kind of event, he would have brought Qing Minjing back long ago. Why would he let her suffer in the Kuei Mountain sect? Moreover, he could force the Kuei Mountain sect to reveal his father's whereabouts and the mastermind behind it. Therefore this was not realistic at all. It's good to try. Song Billion said, since Deputy Bureau Chief Yang is confident, then this matter will be handed to him. What do you all think? Xia Zhili thought about it and nodded. Let's try our best. If Deputy Bureau Chief Yang can't do it, we have other ways. We can't just ignore him. Of course. Ling Tian nodded his head. Let's all work hard to think of a way. Actually, Ling Tian had no confidence that Xiao Chen would be able to complete the mission. In fact, he himself knew that he had no way of interfering with the affairs of the outer martial world. These demonic sects would not listen to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Next, let's talk about how to deal with Wang Chake, Song Billion said. Wang Chake is a good person. He performed well in this auction. He was the one who called out the bids and cooperated with me to successfully escape. So I don't think we should touch him, Xiao Chen said. Well, Deputy Director Xia is the Deputy Director in charge. What do you think? Ling Tian was slightly taken aback. He naturally knew that Wang Chake was Song Billion's man, but why did Xiao Chen speak up for him? Xia Zhili was also taken aback. Xiao Chen held a meeting as soon as he came back. He didn't have time to talk about Wang Chake's matter. However, Xia Zhili and Xiao Chen already had a tacit understanding and trust each other. So when Xiao Chen said this, he naturally followed suit. It's good that he knows his mistakes and can change. I think we should forget about this matter. Song Billion's face was a little ugly. Wang Chake betrayed him and even scolded him. He naturally wanted to use today's opportunity to teach Wang Chake a lesson and let this guy know the consequences of betrayal. But now that Xia Zhili said so, it was not good for him to continue. If it was any other time, he would definitely not let it go. Even if he made things difficult for Ling Tian, he would argue with him. However, he had just tricked Xiao Chen to deal with the demonic sects event. If he made some more requests, Ling Tian would definitely not support it. Since Deputy Bureau Chief Xia has said so, then I won't say anything more. Song Billion said resentfully. After the meeting, the matters of the meeting quickly reached Wang Chake's ears. Because every meeting was recorded by Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang, it would be transferred to the archives for archiving. As long as it was not specifically stated to be confidential, everyone could check it out. Dang dang dang. Xiao Chen just returned to the office with Xia Zhili and heard a knock on the door. Who is it? Asked Xiao Chen. Brother Yang. Oh, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, it's me, Wang Chake. Wang Chake's voice came from outside the door. Come in, said Xiao Chen. Wang Chake pushed the door open and walked in respectfully. He said to Xiao Chen and Xia Zhili, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, thank you for speaking up for me at the meeting. I will follow in your footsteps in the future. I won't let you down. Xia Zhili didn't answer but turned to look at Xiao Chen. Wang Chake is already one of us. He has fallen out with Song Billion. Xiao Chen pointed to Wang Chake and said, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, if there is anything in the future, just instruct him to do it. Now Team B and Team C are basically our people. This is also to prepare for you to become the Executive Deputy Bureau Chief in the future. It turns out to be like this. Xia Zhili nodded. Since Xiao Chen said that this Wang Chake was one of them, then he accepted it. Okay, little Wang, you will work under me in the future. Just be obedient. Don't think too much. Go back and work well. Yes, thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Wang Chake nodded quickly and said to Xiao Chen, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, then I will leave first. Go ahead, but be careful of Song Billion. Don't let him get hold of it, said Xiao Chen. Don't worry. I will not do anything outside of my duties in the future. Even if I want to do something, I will tell Deputy Bureau Chief Xia and Deputy Bureau Chief Yang immediately. Wang Chake replied. After Wang Chake left, Xiao Chen told Xia Zhili about Wang Chake's matter. Xia Zhili nodded happily after listening. Song Billion, this old man, let's see what he can use to go against me this time. Now that Team C and Team B are under our control, he is just a newcomer team. He can't do anything. Yes, but we are not monopolizing power. It's just that some people are causing trouble and the efficiency is low. Now the execution is better. Xiao Chen nodded. As for the Executive Deputy Bureau Chief, I'm afraid it won't work. Ling Tian has postponed his retirement indefinitely, so I won't have any chance. Xia Zhili sighed. I'm not much younger than him. Now it seems that I will retire from this position. That might not be the case, right? Xiao Chen said, the Demonic Gate Conference is inevitable, and it is indeed related to Deputy Bureau Chief Ling's Team A, so the delay is normal, but it shouldn't be too long. Once this matter is resolved, he should retire normally. I hope so. Xia Zhili nodded. Alright, are you confident about the Demonic Gate conference? No, I actually want to investigate my father, so I took this mission. Xiaoqin said truthfully. However, although it has been said before, it is still a bit embarrassing if you didn't complete the mission. This is not good for your future promotion. Xia Zhili said, but if you want to investigate your father, you still have to accept it. Yes. As Xiaoqin spoke, his phone suddenly rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Lan Xinxin calling. Xiaoqin picked up the phone. Lan Xinxin, what's the matter? Xiaoqin, where are you? Lan Xinxin asked. I'm in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. What's the matter? Xiaoqin didn't know why Lan Xinxin called at this time. Today I have an appointment to go for a physical examination, and then there is a very annoying male friend who wants to accompany me. Can you come and help? Lan Xinxin said. Help? How can I help? Help you beat him up. Xiaoqin was a little puzzled. If you don't want someone to accompany you, just refuse. What else can you do? It's not that. I told him that I have an appointment with a boyfriend. He didn't believe me and insisted on coming to see. Lan Xinxin said with some depression. If I don't have a boyfriend, then he will definitely think that I lied to him and then continue to pester me. That will be annoying. So you want me to pretend to be your boyfriend? Xiaoqin guessed Lan Xinxin's intention at once. Yeah. I thought about it. Among my male friends, I have the best relationship with you. Moreover, we have slept together before. It should be natural for you to pretend to be my boyfriend. It won't be seen through. Lan Xinxin said. What do you mean slept together? Xiaoqin suddenly had black lines on his head and said, I can accompany you, but only this time. And as long as you make him give up, then it's fine. Lan Xinxin said happily, when are you free? When are you going for a physical examination? Xiaoqin asked. This afternoon. Lan Xinxin said. It's noon now. Where are you? Xiaoqin looked at the time. I'm at the entrance of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. You can see me when you come out. Lan Xinxin said. You have planned this for a long time. Xiaoqin felt that he seemed to be fooled. Lan Xinxin called him only after she came. It didn't matter whether he agreed or not. No way. I just passed by here and then I suddenly thought of it, so I called to ask. Lan Xinxin explained. Well, you wait for me downstairs. Xiaoqin didn't have a car from the airport before. Lan Xinxin sent him, so she wouldn't refuse to help at this moment. What? Is there something? Xia Zhili asked with a smile. And it's Lan Xinxin. She wants me to pretend to be her boyfriend to deceive another person who is pestering her. Xiaoqin didn't hide it. Then you go. There's nothing else here. You should be prepared to go to the outer Wulin. Xia Zhili said, there's nothing else during this time. I'll help you keep an eye on it. Chapter 756. Thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Xiaoqin really didn't want to stay here every day. He would be bored to death. Hee, go ahead. I know you can't stay here. Young people don't like to sit in the office. Xia Zhili said with a smile, but you have to be careful when you interact with the Wang family. Don't get hung up on. Then I can't stand up for you. I know. Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. He thought, I have been hung up on. I don't need to be careful. Wang Tietju is living in my own house. Outside the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's office building, Xiaoqin saw Lan Xinxin's beetle parked in the parking space in front of the door. He quickly walked over and opened the door. He saw Lan Xinxin touching up her makeup in front of the mirror. Why did you put on makeup? Xiaoqin was stunned. He was baffled. Didn't you say that you want to check your body? I made myself a little ugly so that the guy wouldn't be interested in me. Lan Xinxin said as she turned her head and looked at Xiaoqin. She asked, am I ugly? Xiaoqin was shocked. What is this Lan Xinxin doing? How is this ugly? It's obviously very beautiful. It's not inferior to a movie star. Before, Lan Xinxin had always been bare-faced, and she was already very beautiful. Now with makeup she was even more charming. Never mind the pursuer, even Xiaoqin was a little tempted. Are you going to a beauty pageant? Xiaoqin patted his forehead and got in the car. Go ahead. I know you can't stay here. Young people don't like to sit in the office. Xia Zhili said with a smile, but you have to be careful when you interact with the Wang family. Don't get hung up on. Then I can't stand up for you. I know. Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. He thought, I have been hung up on. I don't need to be careful. Wang Tietue is living in my own house. Outside the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's office building, Xiaochen saw Lan Xinxin's beetle parked in the parking space in front of the door. He quickly walked over and opened the door. He saw Lan Xinxin touching up her makeup in front of the mirror. Why did you put on makeup? Xiaochen was stunned. He was baffled. Didn't you say that you want to check your body? I made myself a little ugly so that the guy wouldn't be interested in me. Lan Xinxin said as she turned her head and looked at Xiaochen. She asked, am I ugly? Chen was shocked. Xiaochen was shocked. What is wrong with Lan Xinxin? How was this ugly? She was obviously very beautiful, not inferior to a movie star. Before, Lan Xinxin had always been bare-faced, but she was already very beautiful. Now that she had makeup, she was even more lovely. Chin. Xiao Zhili is, to say. Chin, are you going to a beauty pageant? Xiaochen slapped his forehead and got into the car. No, I also want to make myself look uglier, but I look good when I make myself look better. I can't be cruel to myself. Lan Xinxin was also a little depressed. Forget it. Let's just do it. I think you should wash it off. Don't let that person pester you and beat me up again, Xiaochen said. Hee, that's not possible. Lan Xinxin couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. He's still very gentlemanly. That's not necessarily true. That's because he hasn't seen your boyfriend yet. After seeing me, he's probably almost crazy. Xiaochen shrugged. He had seen too many people like this. It's not that exaggerated. Lan Xinxin couldn't help but laugh after listening. Let's go. He said that he was waiting for me at the entrance of the hospital. After that, Lan Xinxin started the car and went in the direction of the hospital. Lan Xinxin's appointment was at one of the best hospitals in Tianfang Provincial Hospital. The parking lot was already full of cars, but just as Lan Xinxin was looking for a parking space, a sedan drove away. Lan Xinxin quickly parked the car in the parking space. However, what surprised Xiaochen was that when Lan Xinxin just parked the car, the door of another Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicle next to it opened. An elegant gentleman came out of it with roses in his hand and went directly to Lan Xinxin's beetle. Xinxin, I've been waiting for you for a long time. This is for you. The elegant gentleman waited for Lan Xinxin to get out of the car and gave the roses to her. Xiaochen looked at the elegant gentleman and looked at the off-road vehicle parked on the side. He was a little puzzled. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? Why did Lan Xinxin stop next to it? Thinking about it carefully, when he was looking for a parking space, the sedan next to the Mercedes-Benz drove away without warning, and Lan Xinxin just happened to stop. All this seemed to be a coincidence, but thinking about it carefully, could it be that the elegant gentleman deliberately arranged it? He asked someone to reserve a parking space next to him in advance. When Lan Xinxin came, he pretended to give up the parking space coincidentally. I don't like roses the most, said Lan Xinxin. Ugh, didn't you say last time that you don't like lilies and like roses? The elegant gentleman suddenly felt a little embarrassed. I like blue roses, said Lan Xinxin. Oh, you should have said it earlier. After the elegant young man heard this, he threw the rose in his hand into a nearby rubbish bin with a so sound. His accuracy was so high that it made Xiaochen speechless. However, the strength that he revealed in that instant made his heart tremble. This person was a martial cultivator, and his strength was definitely not low. After throwing it away, the elegant gentleman opened the trunk of the Mercedes-Benz and took out a bunch of blue roses from it. He came to Lan Xinxin again. Xinxin, look, this time it has turned blue. This. Lan Xinxin was a little helpless, but she had already said what she wanted to say before. She could only take the blue roses from the elegant gentleman and said, Okay, I'll accept it. Wang Peifeng, there's nothing for you to do here. How can that be? Didn't we agree that I will accompany you for the checkup? The elegant gentleman called Wang Peifeng was not moved at all. Let's go. I have already helped you register in advance. I have acquaintances in the hospital. What are you checking? I'll go and greet them. No need. Lan Xinxin said coldly, if you go and greet them, how can other people see the doctor? I don't like to cut in line. Look. Wang Peifeng originally wanted to be attentive, but he blushed instead. Qinshin, let's go. Ignore him. Lan Xinxin said as she held onto Xiaochen's arm. Feeling the softness of Lan Xinxin's chest pressing against his arm, Xiaochen was startled. His heart was like a monkey and his mind was like a galloping horse. Lan Xinxin was very beautiful today. Her fragrant scent wafted over with the breeze, causing Xiaochen's heart to be moved. Ahem. You are. However, Xiaoqin did not lose his reason and asked. We have to pretend to be intimate. Otherwise will he believe us? Lan Xinxin lowered her voice. Look, he's watching over there. If we're exposed, then it's useless. Okay. Xiaoqin could only agree. Fortunately, it wasn't his first time pretending to be a boyfriend. However, this kind of situation with a love rival made him feel uneasy. Xiaoqin didn't know how to cooperate. Lan Xinxin didn't say anything about humiliating this person or ignoring him. Also, Xiaoqin didn't know what this person's background was. Looking at his strength, his background shouldn't be weak. If he offended someone because of something unrelated to him, then it wouldn't be fun. Therefore, Xiaoqin could only bite the bullet and listen to Lan Xinxin's orders. The two of them quickly walked into the hospital while Wang Peifeng followed closely behind. When they arrived at the registration counter, they found a queue and stopped. Wang Peifeng seemed a little confused. I already registered, so I'll just use it. Otherwise it'll be a waste. He also needs to be checked. We'll do a premarital checkup together. Are you registering for 2 people? Lan Xinxin said. After Wang Peifeng heard it, he was suddenly shocked. Xinxin, why are you getting married? When did this happen? Why didn't I know? Whether I want to get married or not, I don't need to ask you, right? Lan Xinxin rolled her eyes. You're not my elder. But I am. Wang Peifeng was a little angry. With this kid? Do you really want to do a premarital checkup? Yeah, it's better to check in advance just in case. Lan Xinxin said. Kid, don't think that I don't know who you are. Aren't you a deputy leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? What qualifications do you have to be with Lan Xinxin? Wang Peifeng suddenly became angry. He pointed at Xiaoqin and shouted. Who are you again? Xiaoqin was a little surprised. This Wang Peifeng even knew what he did, but it was old news. You don't need to know who I am. My identity isn't enough for you to know. Wang Peifeng said proudly, Kid, if you know what's good for you, leave Xinxin. Otherwise I will make you look good. Oh, I always thought that I was quite good looking. Xiaoqin was also angry. Isn't this Wang Peifeng's sense of superiority a little too strong? I don't know what his background is, but he said faintly, I am now the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I hope you can speak with respect. Don't find trouble for yourself. Aha, deputy director? Don't talk nonsense. Can you be the deputy director? Wang Peifeng was stunned, but he smiled and said, Even if you are the deputy director, what can you do? Don't think that I'm afraid of you. It's useless. Wang Peifeng's words really made Xiaoqin a little surprised. Even the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau doesn't care about this person's background? Is he someone from the outer martial arts world? But how can someone from the outer martial arts world pursue Lan Xinxin? Oh, if Lan Xinxin doesn't like you, it's useless. Xiaoqin was too lazy to argue with him, so he returned the original words. What else do you have in addition to this advantage? Wang Peifeng sneered and said, You don't have to be proud. I will use my perseverance and patience to move Lan Xinxin. At that time you can just wait to cry. Xiaoqin didn't know how to explain to this person. This is simply godly logic. Isn't this advantage enough? And if it was so easy to be moved, then Lan Xinxin wouldn't have asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend. Obviously, Lan Xinxin didn't have a good impression of him at all. He didn't know where her confidence came from. Whatever you say, Xiaoqin said. Chapter 757. Right, it just so happens that I will also register for a check. Maybe Xinxin and I will get married then. Wang Peifeng thought about it and said, Who wants to marry you? Don't you have a brain? Lan Xinxin glared at him. I will check anyway. Wang Peifeng said shamelessly. Soon it was Lan Xinxin's turn to register. Because Wang Peifeng had already registered for Lan Xinxin, he registered for 2 more people. Wang Peifeng rushed to pay the money, and Xiaoqin took advantage of him. You can't even afford the registration fee. Poor. Wang Peifeng snorted. Someone is willing to pay for the registration fee and he thinks he is great. I can't say anything. Xiaoqin said coldly. He also noticed that this Wang Peifeng didn't seem to have a high IQ. He only knew how to talk. However, holding the registration card, Xiaoqin suddenly remembered something and said to Lan Xinxin, Xinxin, why do I check this thing? Aren't you here to check the body? Why are you checking this too? Isn't it because I want to let him go? Lan Xinxin also looked helpless. But he doesn't leave. After hearing such a private matter, not only did he not leave, but he also wants to check together. I really admire him. I also admire him. Xiaoqun shrugged. Then let's really go for a check. Otherwise, what should we do? You look at his appearance. He won't give up until he dies. Ah. Lan Xinxin sighed. Looking at this, he doesn't want to give up, right? Xiaoqun glanced at Wang Peifeng and whispered, if he keeps pestering you, won't I have to pretend to be him? I didn't expect him to be so persistent. Lan Xinxin spread her hands and looked at Xiaoqun. AI, if you are in trouble, don't help. I don't want to cause any trouble for you. Forget it. Since I have already helped, then I will help to the end. Xiaoqun had no choice but to nod. The three of them walked forward together. Wang Peifeng was bouncing on the side as if she was boxing. Xiaoqun was speechless when he saw this. When they arrived at the entrance of the physical examination department, the first one was to draw blood. Because there were still people in front of them, they had to line up here. Hey, why are you squeezing? Go to the side and stay there. If you continue to squeeze, I'll kill you with my hammer. Wang Peifeng saw a young man with shifty eyes squeezing around like a thief, so he threw a punch at him. Bang! The young man's head tumbled. Brat, you're courting death. The thievish-browed youth got up from the ground, pointed at Wang Peifeng and said angrily, I'm lining up here, why did you push me? I'm done for, it hurts so much, my head hurts all over. As he spoke, the young man with shifty eyebrows began to roll on the ground. Doctor, I want a checkup, I want emergency treatment, I can't take it anymore, I was beaten up. Are you sick? Wang Peifeng was not moved at all. He walked over and stepped on the head of the young man with shifty eyebrows. The guy's nose was bleeding, but Wang Peifeng was not satisfied. He also stepped on the ground a few times, causing the skin of the young man with shifty eyebrows to break. Since you can't take it anymore, then I'll help you. You can die now. Xiaoqun looked at Wang Peifeng dumbfounded. Isn't this guy a tiger? Is he here to pick up girls? Can such a bloody guy still capture Lan Xinxin's heart? Don't. Brother, I was wrong. Brother, I don't want to die, I can do it again. Let me go, I'm fine. The young man with shifty eyebrows did not expect that not only did he fail to blackmail Wang Peifeng, but he was also trampled more violently by the other party. Be careful in the future. Get lost. Wang Peifeng withdrew his foot and said with a proud face. Yes. The young man with shifty eyebrows got up and ran away. Xinxin, how is it? Am I a reliable person? After Wang Peifeng finished, he looked at Xiaoqun provocatively. I'm telling you, a man must be brave. Don't think that you are the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It's useless to be a coward. If I show my bravery a few more times, Lan Xinxin will definitely like me. Xiaoqun slapped his forehead. How did I get such a pursuer? It's like my brain is missing a cord. AI Xiaoqun, then I really have to continue to trouble you in the future. Lan Xinxin also said with a headache. The blood was drawn very quickly. Soon it was Xiaoqun's turn. Wang Peifeng also drew his blood, and then the three of them went to the next consulting room. Take this small cup, fill it with urine and test it here. A nurse gave 3 disposable cups to Xiaoqun and others and said, We still need to test urine? Xiaoqun was stunned. Of course, hurry up. The nurse pointed to the bathroom not far away. Be careful when you do it. Don't get it outside. You will get it all over your hands. Xiaoqun couldn't help it. He took the paper cup. Lan Xinxin, what kind of physical examination did you sign up for? Why is there a urine test? You're a man. I asked you to take a cup of urine, and you're doing this and that. Is it so difficult? Even if you ask me to drink urine, I won't blink. Wang Peifeng glanced at Xiaoqun and said disdainfully, Did you see that? This is called courage. This is called courage. How can Lan Xinxin, a girl from a martial arts family, like an ordinary man? I think you got the deputy director position through your relationship, right? If you're brave, then drink it. Xiaoqun didn't know what to say after listening. The other party's IQ was beyond his imagination. Tiske. Wang Peifeng snorted. Right, Xinxin, it's not convenient for you girls to take urine. How about I help you take it later? Get lost. Lan Xinxin glared at him. Are you sick? Ugh. Wang Peifeng was stunned. How am I sick? Xiaoqun, do you want to help me? Lan Xinxin turned to look at Xiaoqun. Me? How can I help? Xiaoqun was shocked and almost dropped the cup. Isn't there a gap under the cubicle? Just reach in. Lan Xinxin said. Forget it. That's the women's toilet. If I go in, I'll be kicked out. Xiaoqun shook his head quickly. Look at your cowardice. Xinxin, I dare. Wang Peifeng immediately said, "For my beloved woman, never mind going to the women's toilet, I dare to go to the morgue." Wang Peifeng, that's enough. Lan Xinxin frowned. Oh. Wang Peifeng closed his mouth after Lan Xinxin said it. The three of them went to the toilet to collect urine and then send it back to the testing place. It was the next test, but the men and women weren't together. However, this test was a bit awkward. Lan Xinxin accompanied Xiao Chen to check first. She saw the nurse give Xiao Chen a disposable cup. "You still want to do a urine test? But there's no more. I can't pee anymore." Xiao Chen was stunned. "What urine test?" "This is to test the activity and defects of the cyanobes. You go to the opposite row of rooms and see which one is empty. Go in and solve it yourself." The nurse said, "There are posters and videos in the room. Take a look yourself." Ah. When Xiao Chen heard it, he was stunned. "I think we should forget about this." "How can we forget about it? Premarital examination is the most important step. This determines whether you can have a healthy pregnancy in the future. Hurry up. You're a man and you still need to be shy." The nurse glared at Xiao Chen with disdain. "Yeah, isn't it just masturbation? You are too unmanly. I started masturbating when I was 4 years old. I know, I started masturbating mutton skewers." Wang Peifeng opened his mouth and began to brag, but he suddenly found that he was bragging too much, so he quickly changed his words. Lan Xinxin rolled her eyes at him. "Do I have to do it myself?" Xiao Chen suddenly felt a little embarrassed. "Nonsense. Did you read too much gossip? Do you think that there is a nurse to help?" The nurse said, "Don't daydream." "Xiao Chen, do you want me to help you?" Lan Xinxin suddenly said. "That's right. Your girlfriend is right next to you. Let her help you. Look over there, it's all couples helping each other. I'll give you another cup. You can give her some secretion too. She's going for a test later." The nurse took out another cup and said, "But don't really do it. It will be hard to test if you mix it together." "What?" Xiao Chen looked at the tough nurse in amazement. But thinking about it, the nurses in this department were really not competent if they were not bold. "All right, hurry up. What are you waiting for?" The nurse waved her hand and gestured for Xiao Chen to leave. Then she gave Wang Peifeng a cup and said, "You go too." "No problem." Wang Peifeng promised directly and loudly, "I'm not like some people. I'm very brave." "Lan Xinxin, your suitor seems to be a bit brave." Xiao Chen didn't say the next sentence. He thought that Wang Peifeng and Lan Xinxin were really a good match. Both of them were a bit brave. But he naturally couldn't say this. After all, he was here to help, not to matchmake. "It's okay. Just make do." Lan Xinxin shrugged. "What am I going to do?" Xiao Chen shook his head. "Yes, I think we should omit this step of the test. We are not really married." "How can that be?" "If we don't come, people will think that we have a problem." Lan Xinxin said, "Ah, yes, I remember. It must be that your part isn't good. I broke it and you were embarrassed to say it, so you refused to check. Am I right?" "How is it possible?" Xiao Chen was choked by Lan Xinxin. "Then let's check it." Lan Xinxin said, "Actually, I'm also quite anxious about you. Let's try it, okay? If it really isn't good, treat it early. Don't drag it out." "There's really no need and I'm fine." Xiao Chen refused with a dumbfounded expression. "Come on. For this matter, I deliberately learned the male rejuvenation massage technique from the short movies. It should be effective." Lan Xinxin stretched out her right hand and showed it to the left. "I think my technique should be okay." Okay. I'll do it myself, okay?" Xiao Chen was forced by Lan Xinxin. "Then you wait for me here." Chapter 758. Xiao Chen took the paper cup and found an empty room to escape. He locked the door and breathed a sigh of relief. The environment here was very cozy. The layout was the same as an otaku's bedroom. There were a few sexy female star pictorials on it. There was also a player, probably something like a short movie. However, Xiao Chen wasn't in the mood at all. After thinking for a long time, he still didn't feel anything. He could only open the player and look at it, but he lost interest after a few glances. The women in it were really not good looking. They were far worse than Xin Jingxian and Tang Tang. He turned off the player helplessly. Xiao Chen not only wasn't interested, but he felt a little disgusted and bored. After all, the girls around him were much better than him in terms of appearance and temperament. Looking at these things, Xiao Chen's eyes were also a lot more arrogant. He had no interest at all. He walked out of the room with the small paper cup. Lan Xinxin ran over with anticipation, but when she saw the paper cup in Xiao Chen's hand, She was very disappointed and worried. Xiaoqun, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you get it out? Like that. I don't think it's necessary to do this examination. It didn't come out. Xiaoqun smiled bitterly. Why don't I help you? Lan Xinxin's eyes were filled with deep worry. You have to believe in my skills. Although I'm self-taught, I think I should be able to do it. No need. I'm not in the mood today. Xiaoqun quickly refused. Isn't this a joke? If I let Lan Xinxin help me, then Wang Qiqiu won't let me off the hook. Lan Xinxin's eyes flashed a hint of suspicion, and then she seemed to understand something. Xiaoqun, you tell me. Is it still not good? If you're not good, you're in the hospital. Let's go and have a look. I really don't need to see. Xiaoqun smiled bitterly. I'm fine. Ah. Lan Xinxin sighed. She seemed to have a heavy heart, but she didn't continue to persuade Xiaoqun. When the two of them returned to the examination room, Wang Peifeng had already handed in the results. He was looking around at the side. When he saw Xiaoqun and Lan Xinxin, he said, Xiaoqun, let me see if you've done it. F***ck, your amount isn't good either. It's too little. The bottom of the cup isn't even full. I filled half a cup. Xiaoqun ignored him and said to the nurse, I'm sorry, I'm not in the right state today. Let's forget about the examination. No condition? The nurse looked at Xiaoqun and felt a little strange. Lan Xinxin quickly ran over and whispered a few words in the nurse's ear. The nurse suddenly understood. She looked at Xiaoqun and said sympathetically, Young man, you look strong. Do you have any problems in that area? Then you have to hurry up and get treated. You don't have to register again. I'll give you the results of the examination. You can go to the doctor. This. Xiaoqun was stunned. He thought that Lan Xinxin might have said something to the nurse. It was a headache and an embarrassment. What problem do I have? Everything is Lan Xinxin's misunderstanding. At this moment, Xiaoqun seemed to understand something. Lan Xinxin tried so hard to find him to accompany her for the examination. It was probably not because she wanted to be examined, but because she wanted to examine him. After the plane, Lan Xinxin had been worried and guilty. When he told her, she didn't believe him. It was really a headache. Aha, so it's not possible? When Wang Peifeng heard it, he looked at Lan Xinxin with ridicule. Xinxin, if you want to find a normal person, I won't say anything. If you find an incompetent person, then your future life will be difficult. It's none of your business. Lan Xinxin glared at him and held Xiaoqun's arm. Even if you can't do it, I'll be good to you. I'll take care of you for a lifetime. Lan Xinxin's voice was very loud. A few couples who were doing the body examination behind also heard it. They suddenly showed a look of admiration. Especially a short man. After hearing this, he said to his girlfriend beside him, Look at me. Sometimes I'm just a little short and you won't do it. I won't complain in the future. His girlfriend nodded with hidden bitterness. Xiaoqun had a twitch in his heart. Am I being used as a teaching material? But I really don't have a problem. Thinking of this, Xiaoqun gritted his teeth and said, Let's go and take a look. Okay, then let's go. When Lan Xinxin heard Xiaoqun agree, she was very happy. The two of them walked to the doctor's room not far away. Because it was an andrology examination, Lan Xinxin couldn't go in. She could only wait at the door. Wang Peifeng also followed. When he saw Xiaoqun go in, he gloated. Xinxin, do you really want to find an incompetent person? Get lost. It's none of your business. Lan Xinxin glared at him. Am I not being kind? I'm afraid that you will become a widow in the future. Wang Peifeng muttered. Xiaoqun went in for a round of inspection. After he came out, he gave the inspection report to Lan Xinxin and said, It's fine. Are you satisfied now? It's really fine? Lan Xinxin looked at the inspection report and didn't believe it. Could it be that what's written here is fake? Xiaoqun said as he pointed at the various seals on the inspection report. But, yes, you must have bribed the doctor here to stamp it for you. Otherwise, how can you finish the inspection so quickly? No, I still don't believe it unless you take off your pants for me to see, then I will believe it. Lan Xinxin thought of this possibility and felt that Xiaoqun was lying. He must be embarrassed to admit that there was a problem, but because of the special identity of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, the doctor cooperated with him. I'm going to faint. Xiaoqun really didn't expect that after the inspection was completed, Lan Xinxin still didn't believe it. How can I do that? Then why didn't you check it before? Why didn't you let me see it? There must be a problem. Lan Xinxin said firmly. Okay, let's not talk about this. Let's check other things. Xiao Qin didn't want to continue this topic. It hurt him too much. As for the others, forget it. Lan Xinxin was a little dispirited, and she looked like she had a lot on her mind. Xiao Qin looked at her and knew that she was still worried about his problem, but Xiao Qin couldn't explain it. He couldn't really take off his pants and let her try it, right? He had checked everything that needed to be checked, but she still didn't believe it. In fact, Lan Xinxin already thought that Xiao Qin was crippled by her. Even if it was a check, it was a lie. No matter what the result was, she wouldn't believe it. Okay, but the one following behind. Xiao Qin pointed to Wang Peifeng. Let him follow. Let's go eat. Lan Xinxin said. Okay. Xiao Qin had previously thought that Wang Peifeng and Lan Xinxin were quite compatible, but looking at Wang Peifeng's style now, if he and Lan Xinxin were to be together, the two of them would be finished. Two tiger men together, there was probably no hope. After leaving the hospital, Wang Peifeng also followed behind. They got in the car together. Lan Xinxin drove in front, and Wang Peifeng followed behind. They arrived at the entrance of a restaurant one after another. The restaurant wasn't big, but it was very popular. The parking spaces at the entrance were basically occupied. Because Wang Peifeng drove an off-road vehicle, it was easy to park on the sidewalk. But Lan Xinxin's beetle couldn't get up. Xinxin, let me help you. Wang Peifeng quickly ran over and hugged Lan Xinxin's beetle. He directly moved it to the sidewalk and put it side by side with his Mercedes-Benz. Xiao Qin was dumbfounded. No wonder Lan Xinxin didn't want to be with him. This character, he was even more reckless than Lan Xinxin. If she went out with him, it would be really shocking. After settling all this, Wang Peifeng proudly showed off his muscles and then walked into the restaurant under the shocked gaze of a group of people. The restaurant security was also shocked. It was the first time they saw someone parking like this. How was this parking? It was simply taking a car. Xinxin, I really admire him now. No wonder you don't want to be with him. Xiao Qin sighed. Yeah, that's why I called you here. But looking at him, it seems like he won't give up. It's up to you in the future. Lan Xinxin pulled Xiao Qin. They entered the restaurant, but there were no seats. They needed to wait. The waiter gave Lan Xinxin a cue card, and the three of them were ready to wait in the rest area. Xinxin, why are you here? At this time, a man came out from a private room not far away. He seemed to be going to the bathroom. He saw Lan Xinxin at a glance and immediately rushed over. Xinxin, why didn't you tell me that you came here to eat? I'll treat you. Yan Jichuan, it's none of your business here. Lan Xinxin saw Yan Jichuan and seemed to be shocked. She quickly said, my family is eating here. Don't disturb us. Family? Yan Jichuan glanced at Xiao Qin and frowned. But when he saw Wang Peifeng behind him, he immediately became a lot more enthusiastic. Big brother, you are here too. That's great. You and Xinxin should eat together. I've booked a private room. There are no outsiders. We are all familiar with each other. Who's your big brother? I don't know you. Wang Peifeng saw Yan Jichuan and immediately became vigilant. You are Xinxin's cousin. Isn't that my big brother? Our Yan family has already proposed marriage with your Wang family. We have already put this matter on the agenda. Yan Jichuan said, Xinxin, my grandpa plans to personally go to your family to be a matchmaker. I believe Grandpa Wang will definitely agree. Ah, you don't talk nonsense. What cousin, big brother? Cousin. Wang Peifeng was a little anxious. My surname is Wang, not Tang. If you talk nonsense again, I will beat you up. No, I mean you are Xinxin's cousin's cousin, not Tang? Yan Jichuan didn't know what was going on, so he quickly explained. Xiao Qin looked at Wang Peifeng and then looked at Lan Xinxin. He suddenly understood everything. This Wang Peifeng is actually Lan Xinxin's cousin? Isn't that one of the third generation of the Wang family who went to the outer Wulin Wang family to cultivate? No wonder his surname is Wang. No wonder he is so powerful. It turns out to be Wang Tietio's genes. So, this guy was called by Lan Xinxin to act. Chapter 759. Xiao Qin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect Lan Xinxin to have such a clever plan. It was obvious that she was colluding with Wang Peifeng to trick him to come for a physical examination. Now that he thought about it, no wonder he felt that the conversation between Wang Peifeng and Lan Xinxin was a little strange. They were siblings. Xinxin, what's going on? Xiao Qin really didn't know whether to be angry or something else. I'll explain when I have time. Lan Xinxin looked at Yan Jichuan angrily. It's all your fault. What nonsense are you talking about? My boyfriend must have misunderstood. What? Xinshin, this is your boyfriend? Yan Jichuan's gaze towards Xiaochen suddenly became unfriendly. Originally, Lan Xinshin said that they were family, and he also saw Wang Peifeng, so he subconsciously thought that Xiaochen was also Lan Xinshin's relative. This is a real pursuer. Lan Xinshin whispered in Xiaochen's ear to remind him. I don't believe it now. Xiaochen smiled bitterly. In fact, he could see that Yan Jichuan was a real pursuer, but he said it on purpose. It was originally quite good. You didn't even realize it, but it was ruined by Yan Jichuan. Lan Xinshin was suddenly unhappy, and she hated Yan Jichuan to death. Kid, where are you from? Do you know that I'm from Tianfang Zhenwu's Yan family? Yan Jichuan pointed at Xiaochen and said, if you know what's good for you, leave Lan Xinshin immediately. She's not suitable for you. Yan Jichuan's tone was arrogant, as if he was facing an ant. In fact, in his eyes, Xiaochen was indeed an ant-like figure. In Tianfang province, he was basically someone who could do whatever he wanted. The first family in Tianfang was the Wang family, and the second was the Yan family. In terms of overall strength, the Yan family was higher than the Wang family. It was only because the Wang family had direct support in the outer martial arts world, and with the backing of the Wang family, they became the first family in Tianfang province. However, the Yan family didn't, so they could only settle for second place. It had been like this all these years. Even if the Yan family wanted to surpass them, it was impossible, so they just accepted it. Under such circumstances, Yan Jichuan didn't care about anyone other than the Wang family. When he heard that Xiaochen wasn't a relative of the Wang family, he immediately became arrogant. Oh, it's not very suitable, but I can make do for now. Xiaochen glanced at Yan Jichuan, patted him on the shoulder and said, thank you for your reminder. What? Yan Jichuan was stunned. He thought that after hearing this, Xiaochen would either leave with his tail between his legs, or fly into a rage and show his background. But even if he flew into a rage, Yan Jichuan wasn't afraid, because he had never been afraid of any of these families in Tianfang province. He just wanted to wait for the other party to show his background, and then suppress him in all aspects so that Xiaochen would retreat in the face of difficulties, so that he would never dare to have any ideas about Lan Xinshin again. However, he didn't expect that the other party would accept it humbly and even thank him. All of a sudden he didn't know what to say. He was stunned for a long time before he said, you're welcome. What do you think? Are we going to leave or not? I have to think about it. How can I make a decision in an instant for such a big matter? Ordinary people have to study for a few days to buy a home appliance. Xiaochen shook his head and said, okay then. Think about it. Yan Jichuan was a little helpless. He really had no way to deal with such a person. If that's the case, let's eat something together. I have booked a private room, and I can introduce a few friends to you. The more friends, the more options. My friends are very powerful in Tianfang province. They are all the young masters of major families. Today we are gathering here. If you give up on Lan Xinshin, then we will be friends. If you have any problems in the future, just say the word. We can basically help you solve it. Oh, but I don't have anything to trouble you. Xiaochen nodded. Since you are treating, let's go eat. Yan Jichuan was speechless. Listening to Xiaochen's tone, it seems that he is eating with me or giving me face. However, since Xiaochen's attitude was good, he couldn't say anything more. He could only bring Xiaochen and the others into the private room. There were 2 other people in the private room. When they saw Lan Xinshin, Wang Peifeng, and Xiaochen coming in, they greeted them one after another. However, they didn't know Xiaochen. But to be able to mingle with these people, their identity must be extraordinary. Cough cough. Seeing his 2 buddies nodding and greeting Xiaochen, Yan Jichuan quickly curled his lips and lowered his voice. Love rival. Oh. The 2 of them suddenly realized. One of them, Liang Bufan, was a hot-tempered person. When he heard that Xiaochen was Yan Jichuan's love rival, he immediately exploded. He slammed the table and said, Kid, where did you come from? You actually dare to fight with brother Yan for a woman. Don't you know who has the final say in Tianfang's territory? Tianfang? Isn't that the headquarters of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Isn't it the Supernatural Investigation Bureau that has the final say? Xiaochen looked at Liang Bufan in confusion. Liang Bufan was stunned. F***CK, I'm talking about the aristocratic families. Oh, aristocratic families. Isn't that the Wang family? Xiaochen said without hesitation. Isn't the Wang family the #1 martial arts aristocratic family in Tianfang? Liang Bufan was instantly shaken by Xiaochen's words, but he couldn't refute it. He couldn't explode even if he wanted to. After a while he said weakly, "What I mean is, other than the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the Wang family, who else has the final say?" He didn't dare to say that the Supernatural Investigation Bureau didn't have the final say, let alone the Wang family. The people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau weren't here, so it didn't matter if they talked big behind their backs. But Lan Xinxin and Wang Peifeng were here. If he said that the Wang family was inferior to the Yen family, wouldn't he be courting death? That I really don't know. May I know which family it is? Xiaochen looked like he was all ears. Bu Fan, don't talk to him anymore, this person. Sigh. Yen Jichuan had suffered in this aspect before. If this Xiaochen were to be humble, then he was quite humble, but he could choke someone to death with just one sentence, and yet he did not have any temper. Alright kid, I won't talk nonsense with you anymore. The one who spoke was another of Yen Jichuan's underlings. His name was Xiao Wuyo. He directly said to Xiaochen, "The Yen family that Brother Yen belongs to is the number 2 martial arts aristocratic family in Tianfang province. They are a match for sister-in-law Lan Xinxin." Huh? You seem to be older than me. Why do you call me big brother? Xiaochen looked at Xiao Wuyo strangely. Who called you big brother? Xiao Wuyo was stunned. If you call Lan Xinxin sister-in-law, then I'm her boyfriend. Doesn't that mean I'm your big brother? Xiaochen said matter-of-factly. Xiao Wuyo didn't continue with the word, I. He had no other choice. Ahem. Yen Jichuan saw his 2 underlings being defeated. He quickly coughed twice and changed the topic. Let's not talk about this. Xiaochen, think about it. Break up with Lan Xinxin, and then I will help you find a good job. Our Yen family has a lot of family businesses. You don't have to go to work and you can still get money every month. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for your kindness. I have a job now and I'm quite busy. I can't do a part-time job. Xiaochen said with some regret. You don't have to go to work. You can just do a part-time job. Yen Jichuan said. Oh, but our unit's management is quite strict. We are not allowed to do part-time jobs outside, especially as consultants for some enterprises. This is not possible. So, thank you for your kindness. Xiaochen said helplessly. Yen Jichuan slapped his forehead. He found that it was very difficult to communicate with Xiaochen. Xiaochen's words seemed normal, but it made him crazy. Then forget it. And then thank you anyway, said Xiaochen. You're welcome. Yen Jichuan sighed. Okay, let's eat. Can I order some more food? Asked Xiaochen. Yes. Yen Jichuan said weakly. He really wanted to beat Xiaochen up, but he couldn't grab hold of Xiaochen's weakness. He was the young master of the Yen family. He was usually quite concerned about his face. He couldn't bully an ordinary person for no reason. He asked Xiao Wuyo to find the waiter. Xiaochen ordered a few more dishes. They were all expensive dishes. Yen Jichuan looked at it with disdain. If you come to work in my company, your monthly salary is enough to eat several meals. Oh, I had a blood test in the morning. I'm a little dizzy. Xiaochen said, I have to eat more good food to supplement myself. Then add a bullwhip. Lan Xinxin said as she looked at the menu. But after she finished speaking, she noticed that everyone was looking at her strangely. She suddenly knew that what she said was a little silly. She quickly shrunk her head. Oh, then add one more. Xiaochen readily agreed. He didn't look embarrassed at all. Yen Jichuan was completely defeated by him. He was really drunk to meet such a rival in love. He didn't understand the sarcasm at all, or he was obviously being sarcastic, but he was listening to it. Yen Jichuan could only let Xiaochen think about it himself. Yen Jichuan was too lazy to talk anymore. Give me one too. Today I masturbated in the hospital. I also need to supplement myself. Wang Peifeng also said, Xinxin, why do you keep thinking about Xiaochen? Why don't you let your brother supplement himself? It's really tiring for your brother to act for you. Oh my God, it's the first time I've done this in my life. You're still talking about it? You failed and you're still asking for credit. Lan Xinxin snorted. Don't worry about that. Isn't Yen Jichuan taking over my work? It's the same. Wang Peifeng said casually, I'll have 2 more lamb eggs. You have any? After a while, the additional dishes were served in order. So they saw Xiaochen and Wang Peifeng eating heartily, while Yen Jichuan, Liang Bufan, and Xiao Wuyo stared at each other. Brother Yen, what's the situation? Should we teach him a lesson? Xiao Wuyo really couldn't help it. Let's watch him eat as if we are accompanying him. Forget it. It's not interesting to bully a small character like him. Yan Jichuan waved his hand with flagging interest and said, "This matter is actually easy to solve. Looking at his appearance, he should have no background, and his family conditions are not good. The Wang family will never allow such a person to be with Lan Xinxin. When my grandfather proposes marriage, the Wang family will definitely help us drive this guy away. We don't have to be the bad guys." Chapter 760. That's right. Brother Yan is smart. If it were me, I would have exploded by now. Liang Bufan nodded in agreement. Then we'll let him have it easy today? Xiao Wuyo was unwilling. What else can we do? Yan Jichuan shook his head. Don't cause trouble. Wang Peifeng is here today. Isn't fighting in front of him courting death? As the three of them were whispering to each other, there was an urgent knock on the door of the private room. Yan Jichuan, who was halfway through his sentence, immediately frowned. Who is it? What do you want? Liang Bufan asked. The door was pushed open. The driver and underling that Yan Jichuan brought came in. He was a disciple of the Yan family called Yan Laosan. Young Master Yan and I Gangyin and the others arrived early. They parked their car in front of your car and shouted that young Master Yan is a coward who doesn't dare to come out. Yan Laosan said hurriedly. What? And I Gangyin is here now? Didn't we agree to have a showdown in the afternoon? Yan Jichuan was stunned and frowned immediately. I don't know what's going on. Yan Laosan also looked troubled. Who knew that they would come so early and find this place? Damn, someone must have tipped them off. I can't even eat my lunch in peace. Yan Jichuan snorted and said, Humph, then let's go out and see what he wants. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the door of the private room was pushed open with a bang. 3 men who looked like young masters swaggered in. When they saw Yan Jichuan, they said directly, Isn't this young Master Yan? You're quite cool. You're going to be beaten up in the afternoon, but you're still in the mood for a big meal. What's this? Bullwhip? Sheep eggs? Are you trying to eat a big meal? Yan Jichuan's face immediately turned green. He was not the one who ordered this at all. In the end, he was treated as a laughing stock. He glared at Xiao Qin hatefully, only to discover that this guy was still eating happily. He was not affected by the scene in front of him at all. Yelling? He's eating happily? Yan Jichuan, this subordinate of yours is quite a weirdo. He has a big heart. The one who spoke was naturally N.I. Gangyin. He looked at Xiao Qin with disdain and ridiculed. Don't talk so much. How are we going to compete? Yan Jichuan didn't want to study more about Xiao Qin. Although he was angry, he couldn't teach Xiao Qin a lesson in front of N.I. Gangyin. In any case, N.I. Gangyin had already regarded Xiao Qin as one of Yan Jichuan's people. If he were to teach him a lesson, it would weaken their momentum. Let's have a one-on-one battle. The loser will give up his spot as a disciple of the Origin Sky sect. N.I. Gangyin said, Otherwise, when the time comes, our elders will have to work behind the scenes and compete for resources, letting others take advantage of us for nothing. Yes. Yan Jichuan stood up and nodded. Now? That's right. Do you dare? If you're not full, you can eat a little longer. N.I. Gangyin said. No need, let's go. Yan Jichuan snorted, but what if the loser goes back on his word? In order to avoid this situation, I specially invited an expert to be the referee. You will know when the time comes. N.I. Gangyin said. Alright, then let's go to the nearby Xingda Stadium. I have booked the whole place. Yan Jichuan said and walked out of the box. Xiao Wuyo and Liang Bufan quickly followed, but Xiao Qin and the others were still eating here. Seeing that they were about to leave, Xiao Qin quickly said, Hey, don't forget to pay the bill. Wuyo, go pay the bill. The corner of Yan Jichuan's mouth twitched and he waved to Xiao Wuyo. Yes. Although Xiao Wuyo was reluctant, he couldn't ignore Yan Jichuan's words. He turned around and ran to pay the bill. N.I. Gangyin saw this scene and said sarcastically, Young Master Yan, your way of managing your subordinates is really amazing. Do you still have to pay for your subordinates' meals? Why do you talk so much nonsense? Are you a sore loser and trying to find a sense of existence here? Yan Jichuan said coldly with a frosty face. We will know who is a sore loser later. N.I. Gangyin stopped talking and left the restaurant together. They got into the car and drove away. At this time there were only 3 people left in the box. Xiao Qin, Wang Peifeng and Lan Xinxin. Xiao Qin said curiously, What are they doing? A private duel? The leader of the other party is N.I. Gangyin, a member of the N.I. family in Tianfeng. The N.I. family is ranked 3rd. Although it is not as good as the Yan family, the gap is not big. The two families have always been at odds. Wang Peifeng nodded on a bullwhip and explained casually, they don't dare to behave atrociously in front of the Wang family, so these two families are at odds. This time the Yuan-Tian sect is recruiting disciples. There is a quota for the Tianfang province, and both families want to fight for it. You know, if a family has a disciple who joins the outer martial arts world, their status will be completely different. If the Yin family succeeds, although they can't surpass the Wang family, at least they can keep the second place. But if the Ni family succeeds, they will replace the Yin family, so both families are very anxious. So that's the situation. Then the two of them can privately decide the quota? Xiaoqun was a little surprised. Under normal circumstances, the two families will definitely try their best to find a way to send gifts to the Yuan-Tian sect, some cultivation resources and money. When the time comes, the one who gives more will be the winner. But in this way the Yuan-Tian sect will benefit from it. The two families are not fools, so the elders tacitly agreed to this private duel to decide the quota. Wang Peifeng continued, when the time comes the loser will directly give up and only one person will sign up. Naturally that person will join the Yuan-Tian sect. I didn't expect these two families to be so smart. Xiaoqun understood after hearing this. He thought that these two young masters were fighting because they couldn't accept each other, but it turned out that there was such a deep influence behind it. Of course they are not stupid, but this matter has nothing to do with us. We are just watching the fun. Let's continue eating. Wang Peifeng said and continued eating. Xiaoqun looked at Wang Peifeng. After all, this guy was a disciple of a big family. Although he usually looked like a tiger, he actually understood everything. Tiger was just a tiger, but his brain was not stupid. Now it seemed that the temptation of the outer martial arts sects to the Jianghu families was not small. If they could form a relationship with the outer martial arts sects, the family status would instantly rise. No wonder the Xin family and the Wang family were on completely different levels. After eating, Xiaoqun also planned to go back. Wang's siblings, stop acting. I'm going back now. As for the results of the examination, it's true. XNXN, you don't need to worry and doubt anymore. Isn't there still Yan Jichuan? Lan Xinxin blurted out. He was chosen by the outer martial arts sect, so he went to the Yuan-Tian sect. He won't have time to harass you. Xiaoqun shrugged. What if he is not chosen? Lan Xinxin was a little worried. You saw it, he is more annoying than my brother? Hey? How am I annoying? Didn't you tell me to act like this? I even deliberately practiced it for a long time. Wang Peifeng immediately listened after listening to it. You don't know what's good for you. I mean, he is more annoying than my brother's acting. Lan Xinxin stuck out her tongue. Today I actually wanted to take you for a physical examination, so I asked my brother to lie, but Yan Jichuan is real. Well then let's go see in a while and see if that guy won or lost. If he lost, then we will think of other ways. Xiaoqun thought for a while and said. To be honest, he was a soft-hearted person. Since Lan Xinxin's matter was involved, it was not good to give up halfway. After all, they knew each other and had some ambiguous feelings. I think it's fine. I just want to watch the fun. Wang Peifeng agreed. So the three of them left the restaurant and drove directly to Xingda Stadium. The stadium was closed today and there were only two people guarding the door. Xiaoqun glanced at them. It was Yan Jichuan's underling Liang Bufan, and the other was Ni Gangyin's underling. Seeing Xiaoqun and the other two coming over, Liang Bufan was stunned. Why are you here? I came to cheer for Yan Jichuan. Lan Xinxin said. Ah, then come in quickly. Liang Bufan was overjoyed when he heard it. With Lan Xinxin cheering for Yan Jichuan, wouldn't our chances of winning be much higher? Ni Gangyin's underling glanced at them and didn't say much. After all, this wasn't a group fight. It didn't matter how many people there were. If they were willing to cheer, then go. The three of them entered the stadium. Just as they walked to the arena of the small stadium, they heard a fierce quarrel inside. Ni Gangyin, you are shameless. I obviously won, but you suddenly counterattacked and caught me off guard. How can this be considered as your victory? Yan Jichuan shouted angrily. This isn't what I said, it's what the referee said. Ni Gangyin's voice was very proud. At that time, although you beat me to the ground, the referee didn't make a judgment, and there was no countdown, so I could counterattack. Now that I have turned defeat into victory, the referee has started the countdown, so it is my victory. Xiaoqun was stunned when he heard this at the door. What's going on? It sounds like Yan Jichuan has already won, but Ni Gangyin colluded with the referee to play some tricks. This won't do. If Yan Jichuan can't enter the Yuan-Tian sect, Then won't I have to pretend to be Lan Xinxin's boyfriend in the future? Thinking of this, Xiaochen couldn't let it go, and directly rushed in with big strides. And I Gangyin, this is the referee you invited, so naturally he is biased towards you. Today's matter, no matter how you look at it, no matter what, I still win. Yan Jichuan was so angry that he pointed at Ni Gangyin and trembled. However, Ni Gangyin was calm in the midst of chaos, and he didn't have the consciousness of being shameless at all. He said indifferently, "What? You dare to question the decision of the experts of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Well, if you say it is biased, then go find a place to reason. You lost and you still don't admit it. I think you want to go against the Supernatural Investigation Bureau." That's right, this is the decision of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Who dares to question it? Could it be that your Yin family doesn't want to stay in the Tianfang province? A cold voice sounded, but it sounded a little familiar to Xiaochen. Chapter 761. Yan Jichuan looked at the expert from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau who was invited by Ni Gangyin. He was so angry that he trembled and couldn't speak. If it was an ordinary employee, he wouldn't have swallowed his anger and would have made a fuss. However, he didn't dare to do so because of the other party's identity. The consequences of offending the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were quite serious. He heard that the Gao family was uprooted because they offended the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He could only endure such a disaster for the Yen family. However, he wasn't satisfied. Once he admitted defeat, he would definitely withdraw. After all, it would be more serious if he broke the promise in front of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Can I question it? Since when does the Supernatural Investigation Bureau have the final say? Just when Yan Jichuan was hesitating, he suddenly heard another voice. He turned around in confusion and couldn't help but be stunned. It was Lan Xinxin, her boyfriend, and Wang Peifeng walking in. However, Yan Jichuan's expression changed after hearing their words. Are these three people here to harm me? Ni Gangyin now thought that they were all on his side. If they questioned the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, wouldn't it be the same as him questioning them? Wouldn't that make the Yin family and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau enemies? King? The expert referee from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was halfway through his sentence when he turned around and saw Xiaochen. He immediately made a "ga" sound and swallowed the words in his throat. "Yang. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang? Why are you here? Pang Fengda, you're pretty awesome, aren't you? You went to the Qi family to show off and then you came here to show off. One day isn't enough for you, right?" Xiaochen looked at Pang Fengda with a faint smile. "You're here to be a referee? Can you represent the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Besides, the Jianghu family's matter should be Team B's matter, right? You're the leader of the new B group. Why are you showing off here?" Pang Fengda's face suddenly turned pale and cold sweat flowed down. He knew about Wang Chake's incident. He had to betray Song Billion to save his life. However, he couldn't betray others. Pang Fengda could only admit his mistake with a bitter face. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, I thought that since the Ni family invited me, I came to be a witness. Isn't the Supernatural Investigation Bureau serving these martial artists?" "Oh, then how did you decide? Tell me about it," Xiaochen asked. "It's like this. Ni Gangyin broke the rules. Yan Jichuan had clearly won, but he suddenly counterattacked after losing. This is a heinous crime. I suggest we investigate the Ni family. There's something wrong with their characters," Pang Fengda said loudly. He had no choice but to give in. Even an idiot knew that Xia Zhili and Yang Jianan had the final say in the Supernatural Investigation Department. Even Ling Tian had to respect their opinions sometimes. Ni Gangyin lowered his head. Although he was unwilling, he didn't expect Yan Jichuan to be so awesome. The person he had eaten with and was mocked by him was actually the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. My plan was in vain. Not only that, but I was also hated by Deputy Bureau Chief Yang. The loss outweighed the gain. However, he did not dare to refute. He was not stupid. Since Pang Fengda had already admitted defeat, wouldn't he be courting death if he jumped out again? After thinking for a while, a man should know when to yield and when to stand tall. He could only force a smile and said, "Young Master Yan, I lost. I gave up the qualification to be a disciple of the Yuantian sect. I really didn't expect that the Yan family's face was so big that you could even invite the Deputy Bureau Chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. As expected of the second largest family in Tianfang. This. Yan Jichuan was actually a little dumbfounded. Why was Lan Xinxin's boyfriend the deputy bureau chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Previously, he was still acting in front of him, telling him that he had something to ask of him in Tianfang province. However, with his identity he didn't need him at all. No wonder he said that he couldn't have a part-time job. It was because of his identity. Thinking of what he said before, Yan Zhichuan was a little embarrassed. He put on airs in front of him, but in the end he still came to help him. Now he felt that Xiaoqun was really a good person. He was very down-to-earth. It must be because of his enthusiasm before, which made Xiaoqun feel that he was a good person. That's why he came to help him. Thinking of this, Yan Zhichuan blushed a little. He looked at Xiaoqun and said, "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, thank you for upholding justice for me." "Oh, didn't you treat me to a meal? Besides, I just happened to pass by." Xiaoqun waved his hand indifferently. "Right, if you go to Yuantian sect, can you still be with Lan Xinxin?" "Aha, I was just joking before. I and Lan Xinxin aren't a good match at all. I don't deserve her," Yan Zhichuan said quickly. "Oh, then I don't have to consider it." Xiaoqun nodded and turned to Pang Fengda. "What are you still doing here? Waiting to eat tea?" No, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, then I'm leaving." Pang Fengda lowered his head, ran out of the stadium in a panic and disappeared. Xiaoqun looked at his back and frowned slightly. The management of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau seemed to be very messy. He didn't know what the mysterious bureau chief was doing. Why didn't he appear even once? Xiaoqun had joined for so long, but he didn't even see his shadow. It would be strange if the management was good. Now the deputy bureau chiefs were doing their own things. Ling Tian could barely suppress everyone, but his control wasn't too strong. They were all discussing. In such a situation, it would create a group of parasites who would seek personal gain. However, these things didn't have much to do with Xiaoqun. He felt that he had a clear conscience towards the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Even if he killed Yang Jianan in Xiaoqun's eyes, there was a reason for it. Moreover, the contributions he made afterward were enough to make up for it. However, if the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wanted to be on the right track and wanted to intimidate the martial arts world, then they needed a strong leader to guide them. Now, many people only cared about their own gains and losses, which wasn't good. However, these things couldn't be changed by Xiaoqun. Although he was the deputy bureau chief, he couldn't order people like Song Bilian. "And I ganging, right? Don't use these crooked ways in the future. In fact, you might not lose in a fair duel. I think your strength is only about the same as Yan Zhichuan's. With Pang Fengda as your trump card, you won't do your best." Xiaoqun looked at him and said, "I'll let this matter go. It's also our internal problem. I will talk to Team B and we won't vent our anger on the NI family because of this matter, but after this, it depends on your performance." "I understand. Thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang," NI Gangin said very gratefully. Pang Fengda was so scared, which was enough to show that this Deputy Bureau Chief Yang had real power. It was easy for him to touch the NI family. He was thinking about how to ask for forgiveness, but he didn't expect the other party to brush it off so easily. "You can go." Xiaoqun waved his hand. "Yes." NI Gangin quickly left with his men. At this moment only Xiaoqun, Yan Zhichuan, and the others were left in the large gymnasium. The Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, Yan Zhichuan was a little scared when he saw that Xiaoqun didn't let him go. "XN doesn't like you. What do you think?" Xiaoqun looked at Yan Zhichuan and asked. "This, a fair and graceful lady, is a gentleman's desire. But since XN doesn't like me, then forget it. I will definitely not disturb her in the future." Yan Zhichuan quickly said. "And go back and get ready. Go to that Yuantian sect." Xiaoqun nodded, indicating that he could leave. Yan Zhichuan hurriedly said goodbye. Wang Peifeng looked at Xiaoqun with some admiration. "I didn't know you were so manly. I thought you were a weak chicken before. I didn't expect. Xiaoqun smiled and said, "Now that the trouble is solved, XN, can I go?" "Yes." Lan Xinxin was a little unhappy. She didn't expect the problem to be solved so easily. But her problem was not solved yet. She was not sure whether Xiaoqun was crippled by her. But looking at Xiaoqun's look as if he didn't need her to take responsibility, Lan Xinxin was also very confused. Was Xiaoqun really okay? Or was he embarrassed to say it? With a belly full of worries, Lan Xinxin and Xiaoqun left the gymnasium together. "Where are you going?" Lan Xinxin asked. "I'm going to leave Tianfang. I'm going to investigate some things in the outer martial arts world," Xiaoqun said. Then when can you come back again? When Lan Xinxin heard that Xiao Chen was going to leave, her face was immediately full of disappointment. Not necessarily. Let's see if things go smoothly. Xiao Chen said, but it doesn't matter. If you have anything you can call me at any time. If I have time I will definitely come back. Okay then. Lan Xinxin nodded faintly and got on the beetle. Shall I send you? No, I also have to prepare. Xiao Chen refused Lan Xinxin's kindness because he didn't know where to go now. It was easy to say to go to the outer martial arts world, but it was not easy to do. First of all, the outer martial arts world was a level, not a place. The sects of the outer martial arts world were distributed in many areas. Xiao Chen didn't just say that he would go to a place. At present, his first task was to find out where the Devil Gate Grand Conference was held. However, even the most basic information was not available in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He had to rely on Xiao Chen to find out himself. Xiao Chen thought of Yi Xiaoya. He was going to go back to Songning and discuss something with Yi Xiaoya. If possible, it would be much easier with Yi Xiaoya taking him there. Besides, didn't Yi Xiaoya also participate in the Saintess election? Lan Xinxin didn't force it anymore. She didn't know why she wanted to make it up to Xiao Chen at the beginning, but now she was a little reluctant to leave Xiao Chen. She felt that she was suddenly missing something when she said goodbye to Xiao Chen. Looking at the back of Xiao Chen, Wang Peifeng said, Xinxin, people say that it's easy for a woman to pursue a man. It doesn't seem to be the case. Is your method wrong? Chapter 762. Then what good idea do you have? Lan Xinxin asked impatiently, what else can you do besides making sarcastic remarks? I'm not a woman. How would I know? Wang Peifeng scratched his head. Didn't you ask Exploding Heavens? Don't mention it. He's with Xiao Chen. Lan Xinxin shrugged. I feel like I'm pushing him too hard. What? Wang Peifeng's eyes widened and looked at Lan Xinxin incredulously. Did Xiao Chen say this? You two are already doing it? Isn't it good to be tight? Oh, by the way, didn't you say that he can't do it? Or is it because he can't do it that you said so? What nonsense. Lan Xinxin was stunned for a long time before she understood what Wang Peifeng meant. What are you thinking? I say, did I force him to do the checkup too much? What are you thinking? Sorry, I misunderstood. Wang Peifeng was a little embarrassed. Can you be more serious? Lan Xinxin said, if you don't have any good ideas, go back to the outer martial arts world and continue your cultivation. I don't need you anymore. Xinxin, you're burning the bridge after crossing it. I came back to visit my family. I don't have much time and I'm here to act with you. Aren't you too heartless to chase me away after using me? Wang Peifeng said sadly. Forget it, I won't talk to you anymore. I'm leaving. Lan Xinxin started the car. Although Xiao Chen could fly on his sword, he still booked a plane ticket. It was too shocking to use these abilities now. It was better to be normal. In Lan City, Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer's residential building had not been haunted for many days. It was as if everything before was a dream. There were no more strange things happening in the elevator, and there were no footsteps in the middle of the night. The property management company sent a few bold security guards to be on duty in the building for several consecutive nights, but nothing happened. This time it was finally confirmed that the haunting was over. Everyone guessed that although Li Xianer didn't defeat the female ghost, she was on par with the female ghost. The female ghost was afraid of Li Xianer. She was afraid that Li Xianer would come back to deal with her, so she left. In this way the haunting ended. Many of the neighbors who had moved away came back. Some of the residents who had sold their houses regretted it, but since the paperwork was done, there was nothing they could do about it. It could only be said that Tian Suruan was courageous, bold, and lucky. Of course, among these people, there was one person who was not satisfied, and that was Wu Lixing. He hesitated for a long time and could not help but call Tian Suruan again. Hello, is this Miss Tian? After the call went through, Wu Lixing was thinking about how to get Tian Suruan to return the house to him. Oh, it's Mr. Wu. What's the matter? Tian Wangshou also saved Wu Lixing's phone number, so he knew it was him. It's like this. Can you return my house to me? I don't have a place to live anymore. Wu Lixing said. Oh, I'm afraid that can't be done. I promised to return it to you before, but you don't want it anymore. Are you torturing me back and forth? Tian Wangshou was a little angry when she heard Wu Lixing's voice. Previously, she did sympathize with Wu Lixing, so she agreed to return the house. However, Wu Lixing was fickle, so Tian Wangshu was too lazy to care about him. This kind of person was obviously a person who wanted to take advantage of others but was unwilling to take risks. It was not because he was in trouble. Miss Tian, I'm begging you. Please reconsider. Wu Lixing could only pretend to beg for money. Okay, I still have something to do. I'm hanging up. After Tian Wangshu finished speaking, she directly hung up the phone. Hello. Hello. Wait. Wu Lixing hurriedly shouted. At this time there was no sound on the other side of the phone. He could not help but scold, "Damn stinking bitch, how dare you hang up on me? How dare you cheat money from me? Let's wait and see." Wangshu, who was it? Su Chuxia saw that Tian Wangshu hung up the phone angrily and could not help but ask. "I don't mention it. It's that Wu Lixing. He was the one who wanted to sell the house to me. Now that the house is fine and not haunted, he wants to buy it back. What kind of person is he?" Tian Wangshu said angrily, "It's all thanks to my darling. What's wrong with me earning a sum of money from it? You really have the nerve to return your boyfriend. It's obviously fake." Su Chuxia teased. "It doesn't matter whether he's real or fake. Anyway, he has nothing to do with Wu Lixing," Tian Wangshu said. "You're right if you want to say that." Su Chuxia thought about it and nodded. "But if you offend such a despicable person, don't ruin our relationship. How dare he? Xiao Chang will kick him to the southern heavenly gate." Tian Wangshu did not care at all. Su Chuxia thought about it and agreed. It was good enough that Xiao Chang did not find trouble with others. Who would dare to find trouble with him? However, that night, something unexpected happened. At around midnight, the two of them were sleeping soundly when they suddenly heard a faint knock on the door. The knock was very soft. If one did not listen carefully, they would not be able to hear it. However, in the dead of night, one could still hear it after a long time. Tian Wangshu woke up to go to the toilet and felt that something was wrong. He quickly went back and woke Su Chuxia up. "Wangshu, what are you doing?" Su Chuxia looked at Tian Wangshu in a daze. "Is it morning? But it's still dark outside. Is it smog?" "Chuxia, listen. Is someone knocking on the door?" Tian Wangshu said in a low voice. "Knocking on the door?" Su Chuxia was stunned. She said weakly, "Wangshu, are you dreaming?" "It's not a dream." Chuxia, listen carefully. Tian Wangshu pointed in the direction of the door. "Oh." Su Chuxia yawned. She wanted to ignore Tian Wangshu, but at that moment she also heard a soft knock on the door. Dang dang dang, this sound woke Su Chuxia up a lot. She frowned and listened carefully. After a while she said, "Could it be someone else's house? We live in an elevator building. The knocking sounds from upstairs and downstairs won't travel so far. Also, our neighbor's house is mine now." Tian Wangshu said, "Chuxia, do you think the ghost is back?" "Don't talk nonsense. Didn't Xiao Chang recruit the ghost as his subordinate?" Su Chuxia glared at Tian Wangshu and said, "It might be the wind. Go to sleep, don't think so much." No. Chuxia, listen carefully. It's definitely knocking on the door," Tian Wangshu said with certainty. "Okay, let's go to the living room to take a look." Su Chuxia had no choice. Since she was already awake, she got up and went to the living room with Tian Wangshu. The two of them didn't turn on the lights and their movements were very light. After arriving in the living room, the two of them looked in the direction of the anti-theft door at the same time. Dang dang dang. There was a soft knock on the door again. The two of them immediately clasped their hands, and their breathing became slightly rapid. As expected, someone was knocking on the door. This was indeed the sound of knocking on the door. But it was already so late. Who would be knocking on the door? And the knocking sound was so soft? "Let's go and take a look." Su Chuxia hesitated for a moment and said firmly. She didn't believe that the ghost would dare to scare her unless it wanted to die. Xiao Chen wasn't a coward. Killing people and ghosts was just a piece of cake. Tian Wangshu also agreed. The two of them tiptoed to the anti-theft door and looked through the peephole. However, they didn't see anything. There was no one outside. Su Chuxia shook her head, indicating that there was no one outside. Tian Wangshu didn't quite believe it. He also looked outside and there was indeed no one. Dang dang dang. At that moment there was another knock on the door. Immediately the two of them broke out in a cold sweat. At such a close distance they clearly felt that the sound came from the door, but there was no one outside. What was going on? The two of them were so frightened that they nearly fell to the ground. Tian Wangshu finally couldn't help but exclaim, "Who is it? Who's outside?" However, there was no answer and the knocking stopped. When she said this, she was still looking through the peephole, but there was still no one outside. Chuxia, what's going on? Tian Wangshuo's voice was trembling. Su Chuxia shook her head. She didn't know either and she was very afraid. She forced herself to calm down and said, let's contact Xiao Chang. Yes, yes. Tian Wangshuo immediately nodded in agreement. Outside the door, Wu Lixing leaned against the wall. The angle was parallel to the door so he couldn't see what was happening through the peephole. He revealed a sinister smile. When he heard Tian Wangshuo's exclamation, he was secretly pleased. Didn't you not want to return my house? I'll make sure you sell your own house to me. Just you wait. From today onwards, don't even think about sleeping well at night. I'll torture you to death. Wu Lixing was an unscrupulous businessman. He made money by buying houses and speculating on them. In the past, he would often pretend to be a ghost and knock on the door in the middle of the night, forcing the owner to sell the house as soon as possible. This trick was tried and tested. After waiting for a while, he realized that there was no movement in the house, so he prepared to knock on the door again. The reason why he was so daring was because he had scouted the terrain in advance. On the upper floors there would be a maintenance door on each floor. The maintenance door could fit one person. Therefore, if Su Chuxia opened the door, he would immediately hide behind the maintenance door. No matter how hard Su Chuxia searched, she wouldn't be able to find him. Knock, knock, knock. Wu Lixing knocked on the door gently again. Just as a sly smile flashed across his face, he suddenly felt someone pat him from behind. Who is it? Wu Lijue was shocked. He quickly turned around and saw a pale woman standing behind him. Are you new here? The pale woman asked softly. Her voice was hollow, making one feel weak. It was as if the voice came from hell. Chapter 763. What newcomer? I'm the owner of this place. My name is Wu Lijue. Wu Lijue said calmly. Although this woman looked a bit weird, he wasn't afraid of a woman. Oh, I see. The woman nodded and turned to leave. Wu Lijue breathed a sigh of relief. He was about to continue to scare Tian Suru, but his gaze suddenly stopped. Because he found that when the woman left, she didn't walk but floated away. Her feet didn't seem to move. When he was stunned, the woman suddenly turned her head and looked at Wu Lijue. No, I haven't seen you. You? Wu Lijue was trembling. Where did this woman come from in the middle of the night? Bang! A flame appeared in the woman's hand. The woman suddenly floated over, only half an arm's distance from Wu Lijue. Wu Lijue suddenly screamed. He now understood that this woman was not a human at all. The flame in her hand was clearly the eerie phosphorescence that could only be seen in the cemetery. Moreover, this woman's movement speed was extremely fast. It wasn't something that ordinary people could do. What's your name? Are you a Nuine cultivator? Or a ghost cultivator? This is my territory. The woman said faintly, How long have you been dead? Why do you still have the breath of a living person on your body? Wu Lijue ran in the direction of the elevator. He finally knew that this woman was the female ghost in this building. However, he didn't know when the elevator that was still parked here had gone to another floor. Even if Wu Lijue called for the elevator, he had to wait for a while. He didn't dare to wait. He ran to the stairs of the emergency exit. He didn't dare to look behind him and ran down desperately. Why are you running? A voice sounded in Wu Lijue's ear. Wu Lijue turned his head and found that the female ghost was floating down with him. Big sister, I was wrong. I'm a human, not a ghost. I'm not here to snatch the territory. I'll leave. I'll leave immediately. I'll never come back. Wu Lijue sat on the ground and peed. He was really scared. Oh, are you a human? The woman was a little surprised. Then if I throw you to your death, you will be a dead person. With that, the woman lifted Wu Lixuan and floated towards the window. Wu Lixuan, who weighed more than 50 kilograms, was as light as a bottle of drink in the woman's hand. In the blink of an eye, she reached the window. Wu Lixing peed his pants. He was now sure that this was definitely not a human. This woman could float while carrying him. If she wasn't a ghost, then what was she? Big sister, don't kill me. I have children and old people. Wu Lixing cried with snot and tears. I don't want to die yet. I was wrong. There are young and old at the top? Is your family growing backwards? How do you cultivate? The woman asked curiously. No, I said it wrong. Wu Lixing blurted out in a hurry. Forget it, you're just an ordinary person. Goodbye. After the woman finished speaking, she directly threw Wu Lijue to the ground and quickly floated up the stairs. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared. Wu Lixuan scrambled downstairs. When the woman went upstairs, he naturally didn't dare to go upstairs. He almost rolled down. Out of the unit door, Wu Lixuan panted heavily and sat on the ground. He couldn't stand up. "Sir, what's wrong with you?" A security guard on duty came over and looked at Wu Lixuan, who was panting, and asked, "Do you need to call an ambulance for you?" No, it's okay." Wu Lixuan shook his head weakly. "Why is there still a ghost upstairs?" "Don't joke around. How can it be haunted?" The security guard's face sank. Now these owners didn't make trouble, and this kid said that it was haunted. How could these security guards be happy? Moreover, they had been on duty for a few days and they didn't see any ghosts. Naturally, they didn't believe his words. "Forget it. I don't have a house here anyway. I'm leaving." Wu Lixuan waved his hand, calmed his mood, and walked to the parking lot. "You're crazy." The security guard scolded behind him. His attitude toward Wu Lixuan was completely different from before. Fortunately, the house was sold. I didn't expect it to be haunted. I was scared to death." Wu Lixuan got in the car and quickly started it and left. He didn't dare to come again. The woman was naturally Nie Xiaoyu. Tian Suruan was so scared that he contacted Xiaoqin. So Xiaoqin contacted Nie Xiaoyu and asked her to see what was haunted. At a glance, she found out that it was Wu Lixuan. After Wu Lixuan ran away, Nie Xiaoyu knocked on Su Chuxia's door. After a while, Tian Suruan's vigilant voice came from inside. "Who is it?" "It's me, Nie Xiaoyu." Nie Xiaoyu said, "Young hero Xiao asked me to come. I've scared away the person who pretended to be a ghost." It's you. I've heard of you." Tian Suruan had heard of Nie Xiaoyu, but he had never seen her before. He quickly opened the door and saw a woman with a pale face standing at the door. She was quite pretty, but she looked slightly awkward. She seemed to be exuding coldness from all over her body, and she looked unapproachable. "You, come in." Tian Suruan let Nie Xiaoyu enter the door. "No, there are too many people in your room and my strength is not enough. After entering, my cultivation progress will be affected." Nie Xiaoyu shook her head. "That person said his name was Wu Lixuan, but I scared him away." "Ah, it's Wu Lixuan. It's him." Su Chuxia exclaimed after hearing this. "This bad guy. He wanted to take back the house from Suruan, so he used such a despicable method. Fortunately you helped. Haha, he really met a real ghost. It's good that he was scared to death." Tian Suruan was amused. "I'm not a ghost. I'm a cultivator. In fact, I'm similar to you, but I have some qi on me, so I look like a ghost." Nie Xiaoyu shook her head and explained. "Oh, we didn't mean to make fun of you. We just think you're very powerful." Su Chuxia quickly explained. "No, I didn't think so. I just don't want you to be afraid of me." Nie Xiaoyu said, "Young hero Xiao has done me a great favor, so I will take care of you. I don't want you to be afraid of me. If there's anything, you can come upstairs to find me." Oh, we know." Tian Suruan smiled and pulled Nie Xiaoyu's hand. "We're not afraid. We're on the same side. What's there to be afraid of? But your hand is really cold." Hee. Nie Xiaoyu smiled. "Then I'll go back. You guys rest early. Thank you so much for today's matter. Otherwise, Swan and I would have been scared to death." Su Chuxia walked Nie Xiaoyu to the door. "This is what I should do. You don't have to be so polite." Nie Xiaoyu smiled. Tian Suruan's matter was successfully resolved. Xiaoqin had already returned to Songning. He stood under the somewhat cold villa and was filled with emotions. Once upon a time, this lively villa gave Xiaoqin too many memories and warmth. This period of time was unforgettable for Xiaoqin. Although he lived with eldest young lady and Jean Bebe for a short time, Xiaoqin understood eldest young lady's character. If he missed such a good fiancée, Xiaoqin would regret it for the rest of his life. Xiaoqin cherished the ambiguous time when they were newlyweds. Although they didn't do anything and didn't confess to each other, Xiaoqin knew that he and eldest young lady had some feelings for each other. However, because of the matters at home, neither of them mentioned it. Finally, these barriers were removed and the Quishan sect appeared. Shaking his head, Xiaoqin put these thoughts aside. He pushed the door open and walked into the villa. The hall of the villa was dark. Xiaoqin's room was also dark and deserted. Only a faint light came from the second floor. Xiaoqin walked upstairs. It turned out that Yi Xiaoya's door was not closed. When he walked over, he heard a dog barking. Then Yi Xiaoya asked vigilantly, "Who is it?" "Old 6, It seems that only a woman lives here. Xiao Chen said in a pinched voice. Then he changed his voice. Haha, I'm so lucky today. I'm robbed of money and sex. Come on, come on. I can't wait any longer. Yi Xiaoye shouted in a coquettish voice. Xiao Chen was stunned. What's going on? Is it a trick to lure the enemy? This woman is asking us to go in. Although Xiao Chen was confused, he continued to pretend and said, It looks pretty good. Let's go in quickly. Yes, yes, come on. I've already taken off my clothes and waited. Yi Xiaoye's voice was filled with excitement and expectation. Not to mention, Xiao Chen really heard the rustling sound of clothes being taken off. He was stunned. Is this for real? Old Six, this woman is so proactive. Is there a trap? Xiao Chen probed. I think so too. Why don't we retreat? Alright, Xiao Chen, stop pretending. Hurry up and come in for dual cultivation. Yi Xiaoye was a little impatient. I've already taken off my clothes. Why don't you stop wasting time? That's strange. Xiao Yi, how did you know it was me? Xiao Chen walked into Yi Xiaoye's room and saw that Yi Xiaoye's clothes were taken off to the side. She was covered with a quilt, and the invincible dog was walking around on the floor. The invincible dog stopped barking after one time. Obviously, the people in this villa are back. It's impossible for Cheng Minjing and Jin Beibei to come back. Who else could it be? Yi Xiaoye said disdainfully, You are really good at pretending. It turns out that this guy sold me out. Xiao Chen kicked the invincible dog out, turned off the light in the room, closed the door and went to bed. The invincible dog groaned pitifully outside the door and ran away. Time flew and it was dawn in the blink of an eye. However, Yi Xiaoye didn't bother to avoid Xiao Chen at all. She curled up in the quilt and lay beside Xiao Chen. Hey, why did you come back this time? Chapter 764. I have something important to talk to you about. You asked me to dual cultivate as soon as you came back. It's almost time for public relations. Xiao Chen laid down beside Yi Xiaoye and wanted to hug her. However, he suddenly remembered that he and Yi Xiaoye were not a couple at all, so he stopped awkwardly. I don't have the guts to do it. Yi Xiaoye glanced at Xiao Chen's hand in the air and asked, What is it? You know that the Devil Gate conference is about to start, right? Xiao Chen said. I know. It's the election for the Devil Gate leader. Didn't I say it before? The gate leader is basically a member of the Quishan sect. It's not interesting at all. I don't even want to go. Yi Xiaoye yawned dispiritedly. I might as well sleep. Sleep later. Xiao Chen pushed Yi Xiaoye. I have to go. What are you going to do? Alright. Are you going to run for the Devil Gate leader? Have you made a decision for me? Yi Xiaoye immediately woke up and looked at Xiao Chen with bright eyes. You're thinking too much. Look at my strength. Can I run? Xiao Chen shrugged. You might as well send me to my death. Okay, then what are you going to do? After Yi Xiaoye knew the inside story, she actually gave up on the idea of letting Xiao Chen participate. She was just joking just now. Think of a way to cause trouble. I'm now the Deputy Director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Yang Jianan. I accepted such a mission. Xiao Chen was a little helpless when he said this. After killing Yang Jianan, I still have to pretend to be him and continue doing things. So that's how it is. Yi Xiaoye knew about Xiao Chen pretending to be Yang Jianan. After hearing this mission, she was a little speechless. You guys really think of destroying the Devil Gate conference? Do you think it's possible? Even if it isn't heavily guarded, it should at least be filled with experts. If you cause any damage, don't even think about leaving alive. Although it doesn't seem very realistic, we still have to go and take a look. Do you know how to get there? Where will the Demon Sect Grand Meeting be held? Xiao Chen actually knew that it was even harder to cause destruction than to register for the Evil Cult Sect Master election, but he had to go and take a look. In Wutan Town, another name there is Demon Gate Village. It's a small town formed by some outer sect disciples of the Demon Gate after they left the Demon Gate. Almost all the people there are connected to the Demon Gate, and some of the Demon Gate's activities are also held there. Yi Xiaoye said, If you really want to go, I'll ask the sect to help you sign up. Otherwise, you really can't participate in the Devil Gate Festival at this time. What do you mean? If I don't run for it, I can't watch? Xiao Chen was stunned. That's not it. It's just that the number of invited guests is limited. The invitations were sent out as early as a month ago. As a candidate for the Demon Gate Saintess, I naturally have an invitation. Some of the big shots of the Demon Gate also have an invitation, but you don't. Yi Xiaoya explained. Of course, the contestants are an exception. As long as you sign up, you can go. That Wutan town? Can't I go without these two identities? Xiao Chen was a little surprised after hearing it. You can go to Wutan town, but you can't enter the territory of the grand meeting. When the time comes, you will definitely enter with your identity. Otherwise, you can only listen from the periphery, said Yi Xiaoya. Then sign up. Xiao Chen didn't care. Anyway, it was just an identity that made up the numbers, so it didn't matter. And then I'll talk to the sect. Yi Xiaoya nodded. Anyway, you already showed up at the Righteous Demon Summit. Everyone knows that you are from our Demonic Star sect. Then when are we going to Wutan town? Xiao Chen wanted to see it in advance so that he could observe the terrain and make plans in advance. If he could cause damage, he could plan an escape route. It's up to you. I have nothing to do anyway. Yi Xiaoya shrugged, but the quilt on her shoulders was shrugged off. Her chest was exposed, but it was quickly pulled back. Don't look. It's not like I haven't seen it before. Xiao Chen retracted his gaze with some regret. I'll get tired of looking at it all the time. I have to keep it fresh so that you can come to me often. Your strength is so high now. I've just reached the 7th stage of inner force after working hard. You can already kill the demon general. How can I chase after you? Yi Xiaoya complained bitterly. I'll just chase after you, Xiao Chen said with a smile. You're so annoying. What are you thinking about? I'm not talking about chasing after that. I'm talking about chasing after strength. Yi Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen. Hee hee. Xiao Chen laughed. Then let's pack up and leave. By the way, what about Invincible Dog? Is it at home? It can't starve to death, right? It won't starve to death. By the way, your dregs are almost used up. Can you boil some more? Yi Xiaoya suddenly thought of something. Damn, Hongzhu has gone back. I didn't ask her for more medicinal herbs. Now that I'm strong, some ordinary medicinal herbs have no effect. Xiao Chen said, but since this dog likes to eat, I'll just boil some medicinal herbs for it to eat. That's fine. It doesn't seem to be picky. Anything is fine. Yi Xiaoya nodded. Xiao Chen nodded. He got up and put on his clothes. He said to Yi Xiaoya, you pack up. I'll go buy some medicinal herbs. Then we'll leave. Okay. Yi Xiaoya replied. Little Red Pharmacy. Xiao Chen hadn't been here for a long time. Looking at the familiar pharmacy, Xiao Chen pushed the door and walked in. He didn't expect it to be open so early. But to Xiao Chen's disappointment, Xiao Chen didn't know the people in the pharmacy. It was a middle-aged man and a young apprentice. Seeing Xiao Chen, the young apprentice immediately greeted him enthusiastically. Welcome. What kind of medicine would you like to buy? I want some Chinese medicinal herbs. Xiao Chen was a little dispirited. He casually named a lot of medicinal herbs. Anyway, it was for the dog to eat, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Although the young apprentice was surprised as to why Xiao Chen wanted to buy so many medicinal herbs, he didn't ask much. He followed Xiao Chen's instructions and bought the medicinal herbs. How much? Xiao Chen asked as he took the medicinal herbs. Mister, may I ask your surname? The middle-aged man suddenly asked. Xiao Chen was slightly surprised. He didn't try to hide it. My surname is Xiao. May I ask if you have another surname with the surname Bai? The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he quickly asked. White Fox. Xiao Chen asked in a strange tone. Then it can't be wrong. Miss Zhu has already told me that you don't need to spend money to buy medicinal herbs. The middle-aged man said. Please sign here to confirm it. The middle-aged man said and took out a booklet. After recording all the medicinal herbs Xiao Chen bought today, he pointed to the blank space at the back of the booklet and said to Xiao Chen. No problem. Many thanks. Xiao Chen didn't mince his words. He and Hongzhu were already very good friends. Besides, although the medicinal herbs he bought today were many, they didn't cost much. They were all ordinary goods. Xiao Chen took the medicinal herbs and left the pharmacy. When he returned to the villa, Yi Xiaoya had already put on her clothes and was cooking noodles. Xiao Chen picked up the electric clay pot and cooked several pots of medicinal herbs for Invincible Dog. As for the medicinal soup, he didn't throw it away and put it in a jar. In any case, the medicinal dregs could be eaten, so the medicinal soup would definitely not be a problem. These were Xiao Chen's basic medicinal herbs. The bitter fruit was Yi Xiaoya's. By the time he finished, it was already night. Xiao Chen stretched his waist and said, should we leave overnight or rest for the night? Let's take a rest. I just broke through the 7th level of inner strength. I still need you to help me consolidate it. Yi Xiaoya pulled Xiao Qin to the bed, to go for dual cultivation. The next morning at dawn, Xiao Qin and Yi Xiaoya set off. He didn't return to the Xiao family. First, he didn't leave for a long time. Second, he was afraid that Wang Tietio would send someone to monitor nearby. If they saw him coming back, it would be troublesome. Although Xiao Qin didn't know the way to Wutan town, Yi Xiaoya knew. Xiao Qin drove fast all the way. After a day of driving, there were no normal roads ahead, but village roads. Why is this place so old? Why don't we build a better highway? With Wutan town's strength, it shouldn't be a problem, right? That's true, but I'm afraid that some backpackers and people who like to explore will go to Wutan town. This way there will be no road. The road is not easy to walk and there is no map. It is difficult for tourists to go there. After all, the outer martial arts world is also hidden compared to the secular world. Yi Xiaoya explained. Xiao Qin nodded in realization. It was true. If a place full of cultivators suddenly had a lot of ordinary people, it would be really troublesome. The route that Yi Xiaoya directed was very difficult to drive. Fortunately, Xiao Qin drove a Land Rover SUV, so there was no problem. After a night of driving, they finally saw a small town not far away in the morning the next day. When they got closer, they heard people's voices. The cultivators here really got up early. Okay, just park the car there. Yi Xiaoya pointed to a parking place not far away and said to Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin was slightly surprised. Can't we continue to drive in front? Why stop here? It's free here. Further ahead is the paid parking lot set up by the Outer Martial Arts Guild. It costs tens of thousands a day. Only a fool would park there. Yi Xiaoya obviously knew this place very well. Okay. Xiao Qin smiled bitterly. He had been a fool several times before. After parking the car, Xiao Qin and Yi Xiaoya got off and walked there. Sure enough, they saw another parking lot when they got closer. The words Outer Martial Arts Guild Paid Parking Lot were written on it, but even so, there were still many cars parked here. Xiao Qin estimated that besides the nouveau riche cultivators, it was the first time they came here. This looks like a gathering place for cultivators. Back then, when I was in a town near the Hakuna Mata Desert, the situation there was similar, Xiao Qin lamented as he observed the lively scene around him. At that time, Qing Menjing and the others had not left. In the blink of an eye, only Yi Xiaoya was left. Chapter 765. Yes, this is a town formed by cultivators. It is not on the map and it has been many years. There is an array set up by an almighty in the town. The satellite map can't see it at all. Yi Xiaoya explained, but they are all formed in the past. The latest ones can't be seen. The satellites can capture them and there is no confidentiality. It can only be treated as an ordinary town and can't hold any large-scale important sect activities. An array could actually block the satellite? How powerful must the Almighty be to set it up? It was unimaginable. Xiao Qin suspected that it was done by a cultivator. Where are we staying? Asked Xiao Qin. There is an inn here. The price is more expensive than a 5-star hotel in the secular world, but it is not too ridiculous. Yi Xiaoya said, if you don't have money, of course, you can go back to the car to sleep. Let's find a place to stay first and then investigate the surroundings. I have to plan an escape route. Xiao Qin looked around the town. There were plains, lakes, and mountains. The mountains were the best place to escape. The plains and lakes were too easy to find targets. Sure. Yi Xiaoya agreed. The two of them found a good but not the most high-end inn and checked in. Then, they casually ate a mouthful of food and strolled in the direction of the mountains. The demon sect grand meeting had not started yet, and the cultivators here had nothing to do. Therefore there were many wandering around like Xiao Qin and Yi Xiaoya. No one paid attention to them at all. Just as Xiao Qin and Yi Xiaoya were leisurely, a bald fat man in the joyful clan was furious. Motherf asterisk Kerr, he actually said that I stole the extraterrestrial meteoric iron? I, the smiling Mithria, am F asterisk King Sinister, but I wouldn't do such a shameless thing, right? How F asterisk King embarrassing is this? Motherf asterisk Kerr who spread this news. Many people present saw it. It was Long Face and the people from the Green Rock sect who said it. A joyful clan disciple answered weakly and carefully. It must be that bastard Long-Faced who framed me. The smiling Mithria slammed the table. He joined forces with the people from the Green Rock sect to deliberately tarnish my reputation. That's for sure. Yes, I think so too. Regardless of whether the joyful clan's disciples thought so or not, They all knew that this smiling Uncle Master was a person who cared about his reputation. There would definitely be no harm in going along with what he said. As expected, the smiling Maitreya said, "You think so too, right?" Then there was no doubt about it. It was this horse-faced man. How infuriating. This Greenrock faction ruined my plans and even dared to join forces with my sworn enemy to defame me. I will never let them off. Investigate. Find out the names of those brats. You must find them for me. Yes, disciple will do it right away. Since the smiling Maitreya was infuriated, the joyful clan's disciples naturally moved at full speed and began investigating the identities of Xia Shibin and Xiao Chen. Previously, although the smiling Maitreya was robbed of the extraterrestrial meteoric iron, he didn't think much about it. He only secretly bore a grudge against the Greenrock sect and didn't immediately want to take revenge. But now he couldn't. He had to teach them a lesson. The joyful clan had many disciples. They had many eyes and ears and channels. Soon there were results of the investigation. The disciple from before came to the smiling Maitreya's room again and said respectfully, "Smiling Uncle Master, there are results." "Tell me quickly." The smiling Maitreya pointed at the disciple and asked. "I didn't find out their names, but there is an important clue. According to what someone saw previously, these people aren't from the Greenrock sect." The disciple said carefully. "What? Not from the Greenrock sect? Then which sect are they from? Why are they with the people from the Greenrock sect?" The smiling Maitreya was puzzled. "It's like this. The acting sect leader of the Greenrock sect said that he is actually the root of this group of people. This group of people claims to be from the Kuei Mountain sect. Moreover, many people saw that after they came to the auction hall, they were very close to the people from the Kuei Mountain sect and kept chatting." The disciple relayed. "What? The Kuei Mountain sect?" The smiling Maitreya frowned immediately. Although it was true that he cared about his reputation, he also knew his place. He still didn't dare to provoke a behemoth like the Kuei Mountain sect. After all, the Kuei Mountain sect was the organizer of the Demon Sect Grand Meet. They also had the support of martial arts sections. Even the candidate for the Demon Sect leader this time would be from the Kuei Mountain sect. In this case, the smiling Maitreya really couldn't go against the Kuei Mountain sect. However, he was not willing to let it go just like that. After thinking about it, the smiling Maitreya waved his hand at the disciple and gestured for him to leave first. Then he muttered to himself, "The Demon Sect Grand Meet is about to be held. The people from the Kuei Mountain sect will definitely be there. I'll go and sound them out first and make a decision after seeing the situation. Come." The smiling Maitreya made his decision and immediately called for people. After the disciple left, he returned to the room and looked at the smiling Maitreya with some doubts. "Uncle Master Smiling, you called for me? Get ready. I'm going to Wutan town personally this time," said the smiling Maitreya. "Uncle Master, didn't you say that you weren't going?" The disciple was slightly stunned. "What? Can't I go now?" The smiling Maitreya frowned. "No, that's not what I meant. The people from the joyful clan have already left." "Master, if you want to go, you can only go alone," the disciple hurriedly explained. "Oh, that's not a problem. Pack up and follow me," said the smiling Maitreya. "Yes." The disciple was instantly overjoyed. It was a rare opportunity to accompany the elders of the clan on a trip. If he could receive a few pointers along the way, he would benefit immensely. Even without pointers, the cultivation resources that the clan subsidized were plenty. Moreover, if he had a good relationship with a certain elder, it was also the capital to show off in the clan. The joyful clan was not far from Wutan town. They arrived at their destination on the same night. They came to the most luxurious inn in Wutan town, the Demon Gate Inn. The smiling Maitreya was a person who valued his reputation. Naturally, he had to stay here on a trip. Even the disciple enjoyed a feeling of nobility. "I heard that the people from the Kuei Mountain sect are staying here too?" asked the smiling Maitreya. "I'll go and find out now." The disciple hurriedly went to find out more information. Not long after, he returned and said to the smiling Maitreya, "Uncle Master, I found out that the Kuei Mountain sect disciple Cheng Zhongfan who spoke to the auctioneers at the previous auction is here too. This person's status in the Kuei Mountain sect isn't too high. What do you think? Oh, help me invite him over." The smiling Maitreya thought for a while and said, "Yes, I'll go now." The disciple nodded and went to invite Cheng Zhongfan. Indeed, as he said before, Cheng Zhongfan's status in the Kuei Mountain sect was not very high. If the smiling Maitreya had invited someone like Ma Wuji, he would definitely not have come. However, when he invited Qing Zhongfan still went gladly after hearing about it. During this period Qing Zhongfan was very active. He went up and down so everyone in the sect would look for him. Senior brother smiling face, I wonder why you're looking for me? Qing Zhongfan walked into the room with a smile. Although he was puzzled about why the smiling Maitreya was looking for him, one more friend meant one more path. He had to consider for the secular Qing family. Junior brother Qing, you're here. Sit. The smiling Maitreya smiled and pointed to the seat opposite him. Hurry up and serve junior brother Qing some tea. Yes. The disciple quickly poured hot tea and stood by the door, observing the movement outside to prevent anyone from eavesdropping. Senior brother smiling face, you're? Qing Zhongfan saw that the smiling Maitreya was so serious and even asked the disciple to guard the door. He was a little suspicious and did not know what the other party wanted. Junior brother Cheng, I'll cut to the chase. We're both demonic cultivators, so there's something I want to ask you. If you can tell me, then tell me. If you can't, I won't force you. Don't hurt our friendship because of this. The smiling Maitreya said. Oh. I wonder what it is. Qing Zhongfan thought to himself, what kind of friendship do we have? If you didn't have something to ask me, you probably wouldn't even know me, right? But he said, as long as I can tell you, I'll tell you. Good, straightforward. Junior brother Qing, the smiling Maitreya will definitely be your good friend. If there's anything in the future, junior brother Qing, just tell me. I owe junior brother Qing a favor. The smiling Maitreya laughed. But these words made Qing Zhongfan's heart tremble. He just said that he would say what he could, but the smiling Maitreya used words to seal his mouth. It meant that he owed a favor, so he had to say it even if he didn't want to. This made Qing Zhongfan secretly complain. But he could only say, Senior brother smiling face, please say it. It's like this. You may have heard that I was framed at the previous auction. The smiling Maitreya said. Qing Zhongfan naturally heard that the smiling Maitreya was much stronger than Yang Jian's meteoric iron, but this had nothing to do with him, so he just took it as a novelty. At this moment, he nodded and said, yes. Yes, the long-faced man and those guys who won the meteoric iron conspired against me, pretending that I stole it. Damn it, I'm so angry. The smiling Maitreya was angry when he said this. Everyone knows that I, the smiling Maitreya, care about my reputation the most. How can I rob someone halfway? Even if I want it, I won't fight with a junior. That's true. Qing Zhongfan echoed, but he still couldn't figure out why the smiling Maitreya was looking for him. What I want to ask now is that I heard that the people who won the meteoric iron are from your Quishan sect. Someone saw you talking together before and you tacitly acknowledged their identity? The smiling Maitreya finally got to the point. Qing Zhongfan suddenly understood. It turned out that the smiling Maitreya thought that Yang Jian was from the Quishan sect. But he wanted to refute, but he didn't dare to speak casually. Chapter 766. The smiling Maitreya could not be offended, but could he afford to offend someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? That was even more so. The Qing family still had to rely on them in the future. If he betrayed them now, wouldn't they become mortal enemies in the future? Junior brother Qing, is it hard to say? The smiling Maitreya asked Qing Zhongfan with a smile. This. Qing Zhongfan's mind raced as he tried to think of a countermeasure. After hesitating for a moment, he gritted his teeth and said, actually, it's not that I can't say it, it's just that it's a little hard to say. The smiling Maitreya knew that Qing Zhongfan was negotiating, and it was not that he really could not say it. He immediately smiled and said, Brother Qing, don't worry. If you have any problems in the future, you can look for me directly. This is our personal friendship. Alright, I'll say it then. Qing Zhongfan sighed and said, I didn't say it before because I suffered a great loss in the hands of this person. Oh? As a disciple of the Kuei Mountain faction, you suffered a great loss in the hands of someone else? In that case, this person isn't from the Kuei Mountain faction? The smiling Maitreya's eyes widened in surprise. That's right, his name is Xiaoqian. He's not from the Kuei Mountain faction. Qing Zhongfan did not dare to offend Yang Jianan. He vaguely knew that Yang Jianan and Xiaoqian had a grudge against each other, and so did Xiaoqian. In for a penny, in for a pound, in for a pound. He directly blamed it on Xiaoqian and planned to use the smiling Maitreya to kill Xiaoqian. What do you mean? The smiling Maitreya squinted his eyes and asked. It's like this. Cheng Zhongfan told him about the grudge between him and Xiao Qin, as well as the time Xiao Qin extorted 100 million from him. Finally he sighed and said, "It's so embarrassing. My Kuei Mountain faction can't do anything to a small family's disciple. How sad. I even have to abide by a 3-year agreement? You mean you're afraid of him, so you had no choice but to cover for him and say he's from the Kuei Mountain faction?" The smiling Mithriya frowned. "That's right. That's why I was too embarrassed to say it before." Cheng Zhongfan nodded. Xiao Qin is especially good at impersonating others. At that time he impersonated the deputy chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Yang Jianan. This person is also Xiao Qin's enemy. He must have wanted to pin the blame on Yang Jianan. The person he was pretending to be was Yang Jianan? The smiling Mithriya was shocked. Yes, that's the situation. Xiao Qin is a vengeful person. It must be because you bid against him, senior brother smiling face. That's why he conspired with the long-faced man to kill you. Cheng Zhongfan analyzed. According to what you said, it really is the case. Smiling Mithriya believed most of it. Actually, as long as Xiao Qin wasn't from the Quishan sect, everything would be fine. He nodded in satisfaction and said to the disciple at the door, "You heard it too, right? Go and inquire about this Xiao Qin, then come back and report." Yes. The disciple obeyed and went to inquire. It was impossible for smiling Mithriya to completely believe in Cheng Zhongfan's words. He also wanted to inquire about this Xiao Qin and see what the situation was. Of course he couldn't say it directly but just hinted at it. Then, smiling Mithriya said to Cheng Zhongfan, "Thank you, junior brother Cheng. If there's anything in the future, don't hesitate to ask." Well said. Thank you, senior brother smiling face. Cheng Zhongfan was overjoyed. He didn't stay any longer. He got up and cupped his fists to bid farewell. After leaving the room, Cheng Zhongfan quickly returned to his room. He took out his phone and prepared to take credit from Yang Jianan. He successfully diverted smiling Mithriya's attention and shifted his hatred to Xiao Qin. Yang Jianan should be very happy when he finds out, right? He dialed the number but it was not in the service area. After a long time he finally got through. At this time Xiao Qin had just returned to the inn. The signal in the mountains was not good, so he didn't receive the call. "Mr. Cheng Zhongfan? What's the matter?" Because Cheng Zhongfan dialed the public number of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Xiao Qin and Cheng Zhongfan's conversation had to be disguised as Yang Jianan's. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, how are you? It's like this. I have something good to tell you." Cheng Zhongfan laughed and said. "What's the good thing?" Xiao Qin was stunned. "It's like this. Today I met smiling Mithriya of the Joyful Clan. Then he asked me about you." Cheng Zhongfan said. "Asked about me? What's going on?" Xiao Qin's heart skipped a beat as he interrupted Cheng Zhongfan. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, listen to me. It's like this." As he spoke, Cheng Zhongfan told him what happened previously, including how he successfully shifted his hatred to Xiao Qin, F*CKU Mother*Ker. After listening to it, Xiao Qin almost cursed out loud. "Are you F*King sick? Shifting it to me again and again, and it's even more troublesome than before." After all, Yang Jianan was alone, and he had the Supernatural Investigation Bureau behind him. He didn't need to be afraid of anything. However, Xiao Qin's identity was different. There was still the Xiao family. However, although Xiao Qin was annoyed, he couldn't say anything to Cheng Zhongfan. He couldn't tell him to look for smiling Mithriya of the Joyful Clan to change his story, right? That wasn't realistic. Even if he said it, it would only make things worse. "Alright, I got it." Xiao Qin hung up the phone plainly. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang?" Cheng Zhongfan was a little stunned. Why does it sound like Yang Jianan is very indifferent? It doesn't seem to be a big deal. Isn't this a good thing? Cheng Zhongfan couldn't figure it out. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Qin immediately said to Yi Xiaoye, who was taking a shower in the bathroom, "Little Yi, hurry up and leave. Something happened. Don't stay here anymore." "What happened?" Yi Xiaoye was a little puzzled. "It can't be explained in a few words. Let's walk and talk," Xiao Qin said in a hurry. "I'm covered in bubbles now. At least I have to take a shower." Although Yi Xiaoye was puzzled, she still agreed. "And hurry up," Xiao Qin said. "I'm going to check out first. You wait for me in the room." "Eh," Yi Xiaoye responded. After Xiao Qin finished speaking, he went downstairs. Because the deposit here was not small, and Xiao Qin didn't want to leave quietly, it would affect the Devil Star sect, so it was better to check out. "Shopkeeper, I want to check out," Xiao Qin said to the shopkeeper downstairs. "Didn't you just check in? Why do you want to check out? Is the environment not to your liking?" The shopkeeper looked at Xiao Qin and was a little puzzled. "If the room is not good, there's still a better room." "Oh, we have something to do at the last minute." Xiao Qin took a deep breath and said calmly. "All right, but although you didn't stay for a full day, the room fee still has to be charged based on a day. This is non-negotiable." The shopkeeper said, "I'll settle it for you now." At this moment, outside the door of the inn, the smiling Mithriya walked over quickly. "Are you sure they are staying here?" "Yes, according to the registration records of the Devil Sect's grand meeting, the Devil Star Sect's Xiao Qin is staying here." The disciple nodded affirmatively. As the fact that the White Fox was Xiao Qin had long been exposed, Xiao Qin didn't need to appear as the White Fox again. The registered name was naturally Xiao Qin, but the Joyful Clan disciple found out directly. He actually dares to mess with Longface. A small secular family disciple actually dares to be so arrogant. This time I must make him a cripple. The smiling Mithriya sneered. He had suffered such a big loss. As someone who cared about his reputation, how could he not get back at Xiao Qin? Wouldn't he be laughed at to death? Therefore he was already letting Xiao Qin off easy by making Xiao Qin disabled. That's right. Cut off his legs and penis, then cut off his arms and turn him into a human stick. Let's see if he still dares to frame Uncle Master. The disciple said. "Ah, Junior Xiao Qin, I'm coming." The smiling Mithriya laughed and then strode towards the inn. As a cultivator, Xiao Qin's 6 senses were sharp. Although the others in the inn couldn't hear the conversation between the smiling Mithriya and his disciple, Xiao Qin had heard it. His heart skipped a beat. Xiao Qin thought to himself, "Don't tell me they are here so soon?" He didn't hesitate and made a prompt decision. "Innkeeper, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first. I'll come back to collect the money later. You can clean the room tonight." The innkeeper was stunned. "It'll be ready soon. Aren't you going to wait?" "No." Xiao Qin had already walked upstairs quickly as he spoke. At this moment, the smiling Mithriya and his disciple pushed the door open and walked into the inn. Secretly thinking that it was a close shave, Xiao Qin increased his speed to the limit. "Innkeeper, I have a question for you." The smiling Mithriya walked in and asked the innkeeper directly. The innkeeper's heart skipped a beat. The strength of this person's advanced demon general was revealed. He didn't dare to be negligent. "What's the matter? There is a Devil Star Sect disciple named Xiao Qin staying here, right?" asked the smiling Mithriya. "Let me check." How exquisite was the innkeeper's businessman. He knew that the smiling Mithriya was here to seek revenge, but this kind of grudge had nothing to do with him as a businessman, so he didn't want to offend either side. He deliberately delayed a little time. He was being extremely benevolent, and he wouldn't hide it and offend the smiling Mithriya. "And go ahead and check." The smiling Mithriya was very satisfied with the innkeeper's attitude. He was a person who cared about his reputation. If the innkeeper was hesitant and refused to do as he said, then he might be furious. But now he enjoyed it very much and looked around proudly. "I found it. There is indeed such a person," said the innkeeper. "Which room is he staying in?" asked the smiling Mithriya. "Upstairs, room 503, said the innkeeper. "Are they in the room?" asked the smiling Mithriya. "Yes." The innkeeper nodded. "Thank you, Tip." The smiling Mithriya nodded and said to the disciple. Then he strode upstairs. After the disciple heard it, he quickly took out 2 stacks of bills from his backpack and gave them to the innkeeper. Then he ran upstairs with the smiling Mithriya. Chapter 767. The shopkeeper naturally accepted it and shook his head. He had done what he could. Whether Xiao Qin could run away depended on his luck. However, it seemed that Xiao Qin knew that someone was looking for him, so he left in a hurry without taking the refund money. But how did he find out? Standing at the door of room 503, smiling Mithriya asked his disciple to knock on the door, but there was no movement from inside. He was a little confused, so he couldn't help but knock on the door himself. However, there was still no movement from inside. "Quang Dang." Smiling Mithriya directly kicked the door open and rushed in. In the room, the window was open and there was water vapor in the room with the fragrance of a bath. Obviously, there was someone in the room before, but now they had escaped by jumping out of the window. Smiling Mithriya immediately rushed to the window and drove to the street downstairs. A man was pulling a woman whose hair was still wet and running. Damn, he ran away. Let's chase. Smiling Mithria jumped out of the window directly, and his disciple followed closely. When Xiaoqin returned to the room, Yi Xiaoya was still wiping the water stains on her body. She was shocked when she saw Xiaoqin coming in. She even teased him and told him not to look. However, in a hurry, how could Xiaoqin have time to appreciate this? Xiaoqin quickly picked up Yi Xiaoya's clothes and roughly put them on her. As for her underwear, he didn't have time to wear it. He just put on a coat. During this period, he inevitably touched some parts that shouldn't be touched, but Xiaoqin didn't have the time to think too much. After he was done, he pulled Yi Xiaoya and jumped out of the window. Hey Xiaoqin, what are you doing? Do you want to drag me to death? Yi Xiaoya's hair hadn't dried yet, so she asked uncomfortably. Someone is chasing me. Hurry up and run. Xiaoqin said in a hurry. It can't be, right? What the hell is going on? Yi Xiaoya was shocked. Is this the reason why Xiaoqin was in a hurry to check out? It seemed like he had discovered something earlier. But now, even though Xiaoqin ran very fast, he still felt that someone was chasing behind him. He turned around and saw that it was indeed the smiling Mithria and his disciple running over. The speed of these two people made Xiaoqin groan inwardly. Although Xiaoqin was a cultivator, his running speed was not much faster than these cultivators. Moreover, whether it was the smiling Mithria or his disciple, their strength was far higher than Xiaoqin's. One was an expert at the peak of the 10th level of the great perfection of the demon general realm, and the other was an expert at the great perfection of the demon master realm. Although Xiaoqin could kill the latter, the two of them were competing in speed with him. Xiaoqin was somewhat stretched. In addition, Yi Xiaoya's speed was not as fast as Xiaoqin's, which further slowed down their overall speed. Xiaoqin, you run by yourself. I can't run fast and I'll drag you down. Yi Xiaoya also felt that the two people behind her were very fast. If she continued like this, she would definitely affect Xiaoqin, so she was ready to give up. He shouldn't be looking for me. He won't make things difficult for me. You think too simply. If he can't catch me, he will deal with you. How could Xiaoqin give up on Yi Xiaoya? Let's not talk about the ambiguous relationship between the two. Even if there wasn't, with the situation that Yi Xiaoya had helped him many times, Xiaoqin couldn't easily give up. Xiaoqin directly picked up Yi Xiaoya, carried her on his shoulder in her exclamation, and continued to run forward. Xiaoqin, you can't run away. If you know what's good for you, stop and let me cripple you. As for your friends and companions, I don't want to make things difficult for them. The smiling Mithria was getting closer and closer. Moreover, Xiaoqin had now run out of the town and was running in the direction of the mountain range that he had scouted before. He wasn't afraid of being heard by others because there was no one nearby. Xiaoqin didn't answer and continued to run. Cripple? Unless he was stupid, he wouldn't let himself be captured. Fortunately, he had scouted an escape route as soon as he came. He didn't expect that it would not be useful in the Demon Gate conference, but it would be used in advance. Every debt has a debtor. I don't want to make things difficult for you, but if you don't stop, don't blame me for crippling your companions when I catch up with you. The smiling Mithria said coldly, you also know that I am an upright person. I will do what I say. Although I disdain to make things difficult for juniors and innocent people, now that you are running together, you are accomplices. Xiaoqin's female companion listened carefully. If you don't want to suffer together, persuade and stop Xiaoqin from continuing to run. This is the right way. Yi Xiaoya wouldn't help him persuade, but she was anxious in her heart. Xiaoqin, they're getting closer and closer. What should we do? Even if we continue to run, we will be caught sooner or later. You better put me down. Xiaoqin took a look behind him and cursed, F***ck me. He looked around and saw that there was no one else other than the two people behind him. He gritted his teeth and slapped his waist, summoning his flying sword. He carried Yi Xiaoya and jumped onto the flying sword, driving the flying sword towards the mountain range. Old bald donkey, chase me. Xiaoqin smiled coldly, if you have the ability, then get a jet to chase after me. You're exhausting me to death. Yi Xiaoya didn't know what was going on. When she saw Xiaoqin casually waving his sword, and the two of them flew into the sky, she was shocked. What kind of magical martial arts technique was this? She had never seen it before. How could it fly? Even with a flying-type magic artifact, only a very high-level cultivator would be able to use it. What level of strength did Xiaoqin possess? Moreover, ordinary flying instruments were flying carpets or small spaceships. How could there be a sword like Xiaoqin's? Uncle Master, they are flying? The disciple chasing behind exclaimed in horror. I can see it. You don't have to tell me. The smiling Mithrida's face was gloomy. His trademark smiling face was now gloomy. Then, what should we do now? Should we still chase? The disciple saw that his Uncle Master was angry and couldn't help but ask carefully. Chase my A***s. Can we catch up? The smiling Mithria stopped in his tracks. Uncle Master, how can they fly? How did they do it? Looking at Xiao Qin and Yi Xiaoye, who had become small dots in the distance, the disciple couldn't help but ask curiously. He should have a flying instrument. But looking at his current strength, he is at most a level 4 or level fiend master. How can he use a flying instrument? At this point, the smiling Mithria couldn't help but feel envious. And this flying instrument looks very small. Although I didn't see it clearly, it is definitely a good thing. Uncle Master, do you mean that we should snatch it? The disciple asked with shifty eyes. Of course, even if they snatched it back, it would have nothing to do with this disciple. But if they could help their Uncle Master snatch a Dharma treasure, the sect would definitely reward them handsomely when they returned. We can't even catch up with them. Snatch my foot. The smiling Mithria sneered and said, Go back now and immediately send a message to all the joyful clan disciples in Wutan town. Surround the corner of the mountain range and start searching the mountain. I don't believe that they won't come down after going up. This mountain range could only be climbed on one side. The other side was a precipitous cliff with an endless sea below. Therefore, it was impossible for Xiao Qin to leave from the other side. If he wanted to leave, he could only go down the mountain from this side. Therefore, the smiling Mithria watched from afar and then sent the disciple to find people to search the mountain. He didn't believe that they could hide forever. Anyway, there was still some time before the demon sect grand meeting. These joyful clan disciples had nothing to do here. He might as well let them do the work. Yes. The disciple responded and turned to leave. But he was stopped by the smiling Mithria again. Wait. Send a message to the sect again and ask our joyful clan disciples to come here in large numbers. This flying instrument is mine. The smiling Mithria instructed. If it was just to get back at them previously, he definitely wouldn't have mobilized all the disciples of the sect. But now, for the sake of the flying instrument, he was already a little crazy. This was a good thing. Yes. The disciple quickly answered. Also, remember to keep your mouth shut. Don't say what you shouldn't say. The smiling Mithria reminded. In this Wutan town, there were many sects that were not weaker than the joyful clan. If there were too many people and the news of the flying instrument was spread, what if other sects came to snatch it? Wouldn't that be making a wedding dress for others? I understand. The disciple also knew that the situation was serious. He answered seriously and turned to leave. The smiling Mithria squinted his eyes and stared at the mountain range from afar. Xiao Qin vaguely saw that the smiling Mithria and his disciple had stopped and heaved a sigh of relief. He brought Yi Xiaoye and landed on a towering tree on the mountain range. Phew. Xiao Qin let out a long sigh. It's fine for now. That scared me. Alright, Xiao Qin, how can you fly? Your flying instrument is so strange. Why is it a sword? Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Qin with some surprise. I seem to have mentioned it to you before. I'm not an ordinary cultivator. I'm a superpower user. Xiao Qin said. So it was a superpower before? Yi Xiaoye suddenly widened her eyes. This sword is actually not a magic weapon? It's a magic weapon, but it's made by me. It's not very valuable. It's just a broken sword sold in a handicraft shop. Xiao Qin actually coveted that piece of extraterrestrial meteoric iron. If that thing was used to refine a flying sword, it should be very useful, right? However, that material was now given to the research institute. It was not good for Xiao Qin to keep it for himself. If there were leftovers after the research, Xiao Qin did not mind taking some back. After all, refining a flying sword didn't require too much material. Just a small piece was enough. As long as the sword body was made of extraterrestrial meteoric iron, the sword hilt could be made of any material. But now was not the time to think about this. Xiao Qin's first task was to think about how to escape the pursuit of the smiling Mithria. Now that some of his strength had been exposed, especially the flying sword. Previously, Xiao Qin's biggest headache was how to explain the flying sword. If everyone knew that he was a cultivator and came to find trouble with him to study him, then Xiao Qin could only live a life of escape again. Chapter 768. But now listening to Yi Xiaoye say that there was a flying magic weapon, This was a very good excuse. So that's how it is. I thought it was a flying magic weapon that I could also drive. Yi Xiaoye suddenly felt a little regretful after listening. That's right, Xiaoyi, tell me in detail what a flying artifact is, its uses and characteristics, its specific value and how to control it. Don't leave anything out. Xiao Qin needed to understand all this before he could disguise the flying sword as a flying artifact. Hey, you don't know? Yi Xiaoye was stunned and then said, yes, you didn't know anything about the martial arts world before. You didn't even know martial arts. Now that your strength is high, I subconsciously thought that you knew everything. Now that I think about it, you are still the same as before. Yes. Xiao Qin smiled bitterly and said, I have said that I am a paranormal, not a cultivator. Naturally, I don't know these things. In order not to attract attention, I have to know about flying magic weapons. A flying magic weapon is a kind of magic weapon that is controlled by the cultivator's mind. The cultivator who uses it must have a strong mind that can resonate with the magic weapon. Only then can they drive it. Yi Xiaoye explained, however, this kind of magic weapon was made in ancient times. Now, very few cultivators can make it, including some sects that specialize in casting weapons. They can only cast some relatively solid weapons for martial arts cultivation. They can't turn it into a magic weapon. No wonder. Xiao Qin nodded. Meteoric iron was a good material. Although it was precious, the competition was not particularly fierce. Perhaps it was also related to the fact that it couldn't be used to refine magic weapons. If it could be used to refine magic weapons, I am afraid that no matter how expensive it would be crazy to fight for it. But now there was no need to fight to the end. However, Yi Xiaoye's words made Xiao Qin very happy. Since the magic artifact was powered by a cultivator's will, no one would be able to find any problems with his flying sword. In any case, there was no way to power it. It all depended on one's talent. Xiao Qin breathed a sigh of relief. In Xiao Qin's view, this thought should be something similar to spiritual sense or spiritual force. As for the specifics, he was not a cultivator, so he could not understand it. Are we going to stay here forever? Yi Xiaoye couldn't help but ask as she looked at the rolling mountains and dense forests around them. The smiling Mithria is still at the foot of the mountain. We can only stay here. Xiao Qin sighed. He was definitely no match for the smiling Mithria, even if it was a sneak attack. Where is it? Why didn't I see it? How do you know? Yi Xiaoye looked down the mountain but found nothing. Don't forget that I'm an esper. Xiao Qin did not explain too much. His six senses were powerful, and he could vaguely see the figure at the foot of smiling Mithria mountain. However, he did not know where the disciple had gone. Then let's not waste time. Let's do dual cultivation. Yi Xiaoye thought about it and suggested. Xiao Qin did not refuse, but he glanced at Yi Xiaoye lecherously. It's daytime now. Aren't you afraid that I'll peep? If the smiling Mithria stays here all the time, we can't go down. What can we do if we look? Maybe we'll die here for the rest of our lives. Yi Xiaoye shrugged. Besides, I'm the only one here. There are no Xinjingxian, Tang Tang or Qing Menjing. You can only continue to look if you're tired of it. You have to look even if you throw up. Well, okay. Xiao Qin smiled bitterly. What did it have to do with the eldest lady? He had not seen it. Yi Xiaoye directly took off her clothes. She was a devil cultivator. She was also flexible on the tree branches. Her movements were not affected at all. Xiao Qin also took off his clothes and began dual cultivation with Yi Xiaoye. Dual cultivation with Yi Xiaoye now was actually a one-sided improvement for Yi Xiaoye's strength. It did not benefit Xiao Qin much because her strength was too low. The gap between her and Xiao Qin was too big unless she caught up one day. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. The disciple sent by the smiling Mithria came back. Behind him was a group of people. Obviously, they were the helpers, the disciples of the joyful clan. Greetings, martial uncle smiling face. The disciples hurriedly cupped their fists and greeted. Junior brother smiling face, why did you call us all here in such a hurry? What's the matter? A tall, bearded cultivator came over and asked. He was the leader of the joyful clan in this devil sect grand meeting. He was also the senior brother of the smiling Mithria. His nickname was Old Taoist Dianlong. Senior brother Dianlong, come over and talk. The smiling Mithria could hide it from these disciples, but there was no way to hide it from Old Taoist Dianlong. However, the rules of the joyful clan were very clear. That was, whoever found the magic treasure belonged to him. Even if other disciples helped, they would only be rewarded by the clan after returning, and would not get a share of the treasure. Of course, if there were many treasures and someone took the initiative to share it, then it was another matter. Therefore, the smiling Mithria was not afraid of old Taoist Yanlong robbing him of his treasure. Old Taoist Yanlong was slightly stunned. Then he and the smiling Mithria came to a nearby place where there was no one. After looking around, he said, "If you have something to say, just say it. The person who framed me at the auction has been found. He is in this mountain." The smiling Mithria lowered his voice. "That's not right. It's just to chase after a small enemy. Do you have to mobilize so many people?" Old Taoist Yanlong was stunned and looked at the smiling Mithria with a puzzled look. "Senior brother Yanlong, you don't know. The reason why I'm mobilizing so many people is that this kid has a flying magic treasure." The smiling Mithria said, "Moreover, it looks very exquisite and advanced. He, a devil master level cultivator, can actually activate it. This magic treasure is not simple." "Is it true? He has such a magic treasure. Does he have any background that we can't afford to offend?" Old Taoist Yanlong was stunned and asked with some concern. "Of course not. Don't worry, senior brother. I have investigated clearly. This guy is called Xiaoqin. He is a disciple of a small family in the secular world. Although he also has a martial arts background, he is just a nominal disciple of the Devil Star sect." The smiling Mithria said, "Such a person is nothing to be afraid of. So that's how it is. Congratulations, junior brother. You got such a good magic treasure." Old Taoist Yanlong said enviously. This kind of flying magic treasure was very rare in the sect. Even he did not have one. However, he also knew that it was useless to covet it. The sect rules were there. If they wanted to violate it, their senior brother would definitely punish them. Haha, when senior brother goes out to do something, you can lend it to senior brother. Although the smiling Mithria also knew the sect rules, it was another matter if old Taoist Yanlong would work hard to help. Therefore, he directly gave him some benefits. "Really?" Old Taoist Yanlong was delighted. He then nodded and said, "Don't worry. Senior brother will definitely help you to kill this enemy." "Then I will have to trouble senior brother." The smiling Mithria was overjoyed. In his opinion, that flying magic treasure was already in his pocket. The joyful clan disciples surrounded the bottom of the mountain. There was a sentry post at a certain distance. The smiling Mithria did not have to watch from afar like before. He was much more relaxed. However, he also knew that it was not a solution to just watch. Xiaoqin was a cultivator. He would not starve to death in the mountain. He could simply eat anything to satisfy his hunger. If he wanted to waste time with him, it would not be a problem even for 8 to 10 years. Therefore, he waited for the other joyful clan disciples to come and conduct a large-scale search of the mountain. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Xiaoqin did not move at the bottom of the mountain. Every day he cultivated with Yi Xiaoya. Other than his own strength not improving, he had a lot of luck with women every day, or more accurately, it should be a feast for his eyes. On this day there was another group of people at the bottom of the mountain. This made Xiaoqin immediately alert. Even his and Yi Xiaoya's cultivation stopped. "What's wrong?" Yi Xiaoya felt that Xiaoqin had stopped. She opened her eyes and asked, "There are some people at the bottom of the mountain again." Xiaoqin frowned. I don't know what new ideas the smiling Mithria has. Actually, although Xiaoqin said so, he could roughly guess in his heart. Probably the smiling Mithria could not wait any longer and wanted to bring people to search the mountain. But in this way Xiaoqin would be in danger. With so many people, it was hard to guarantee that he would not be discovered. Although he could step on the flying sword and run, Xiaoqin was not willing to do so. Now, he had only revealed his trump card in front of the smiling Mithria. If everyone knew about it, it would be meaningless. Moreover, with so many people here, who knew if there would be something that could counter his flying? For example, a bow and arrow. Or perhaps they also had flying Dharma treasures. At the thought of this, Xiaoqin could not help but feel a little regretful. He thought that after he went up the mountain he could drag it out with the smiling Mithria. When the other party lost his patience, he would definitely leave. If he had known that this would happen, he might as well forcefully break out of the encirclement and fly out in another direction. Thinking about it, the smiling Mithria would not be able to catch up even if he wanted to. Indeed, Xiaoqin's guess was right. He saw a sage-like man come to the smiling Mithria's side. The smiling Mithria was very respectful to him. Then this man asked someone to carry something that looked like a small boat. The smiling Mithria and Taoist Yanlong boarded it. After that, the sage-like man also boarded the small boat. Then the small boat slowly rose into the sky. It was actually a flying Dharma treasure. Ha! The sage-like man shouted. The small boat began to fly at an extremely fast speed. It casually circled the foot of the mountain twice. When Xiaoqin saw this, he felt a chill in his heart. This speed was almost on par with his flying sword. The only advantage he had was completely gone. This made Xiaoqin secretly complain. He had missed the best opportunity to escape, but it was useless to regret it. Now he could only think of a countermeasure. However, the only thing that made Xiaoqin feel at ease was that the small boat could not rise too high. This was different from the flying sword. Therefore, as long as Xiaoqin floated, the other party should not be able to do anything. However, Xiaoqin's body had limited yuan qi, so he could not keep floating. Therefore, this was not a good solution. The only thing he could do now was to take one step at a time. At the foot of the mountain, the smiling Mithriya sat in the eldest senior brother's flying shuttle. He was very relaxed and happy. Eldest senior brother, I didn't expect you to come personally. You even brought a flying Dharma treasure. This time that kid Xiaoqin will not be able to escape. Chapter 769. Yes, we don't have many flying instruments in our sect. Now that you've discovered one, it's a great thing. This is a big matter for the sect. Naturally, I have to come and help. This sage-like man was the eldest senior brother of the joyful clan. In his eyes, it was no longer about personal gains and losses, but the sect's gains and losses. He was going to enter the upper echelons of the sect in the future. If he was not the sect master, he would be the deputy sect master. Therefore, as long as there were benefits for the sect, he would spare no effort. What's more, according to the sect's rules, although the magic tool belonged to the discoverer, after the discoverer passed away, the magic tool would be passed on to the disciples of the sect and could not be given to outsiders. Therefore, in general, it belonged to the sect. Thank you, eldest senior brother, for your help. Smiling Mithriya said excitedly. Yes, I'll let the joyful clan disciples start searching the mountain now. Then we'll take the flying shuttle and patrol back and forth. Once the disciples send a message, we can rush over immediately, said the eldest senior brother. It's all up to you, eldest senior brother. Smiling Mithriya quickly responded. The eldest senior brother was a man of his word. With a few instructions, all the joyful clan disciples got into action. Very soon, a large number of disciples started to go up the mountain to search. Smiling Mithriya and old Taoist Bien Long boarded the flying shuttle with him and hovered above the mountain range. As the flying shuttle didn't fly very high, it was impossible to overlook the entire mountain range to search for people. Moreover, even if they could overlook it without professional aerial photography equipment, they didn't have sharp sixth senses like Xiaoqin. They couldn't see the situation below clearly from such a long distance. Quickly put on your clothes. This is bad. Xiaoqin said to Yi Xiaoya anxiously. What's wrong? Yi Xiaoya was at a loss. More people are coming. They're coming up the mountain. Xiaoqin said, if I'm not wrong, it should be Smiling Mithriya who got reinforcements from the sect. Moreover, their target isn't just me but my flying sword. That can't be. What should we do now? Fight with them or continue to run? Yi Xiaoya was a little worried when she heard it. But the sea is over there. The sea? Xiaoqin didn't know if there were any islands in the middle of the sea. If he kept flying without a place to rest, his vitality would definitely be exhausted and he would fall into the sea and die. We definitely can't stay here. Let's observe the situation first. It would be best if we can kill 1 or 2 joyous clan disciples and wear their clothes to fish in troubled waters. As they spoke, the 2 of them had already put on their clothes. However, if the enemy did not move, they would not move. Xiaoqin was still on the tree. As long as the joyful clan disciples did not discover them, there was no need for them to take the initiative to move. As Xiaoqin was deep in the mountains, the joyful clan disciples would not be able to find him for a while. Yi Xiaoya was bored to death. She leaned on Xiaoqin and said, I will sleep for a while. Wake me up when they come. Xiaoqin nodded and looked around vigilantly. After about half a day, footsteps could be heard nearby. 3 joyful clan disciples were walking towards them. Xiaoqin was slightly shocked. However, Xiaoqin was confident that they would not discover him so easily since he was on the tree. However, when they walked closer, Xiaoqin was speechless. This was because each of the 3 disciples was holding something similar to a handheld instrument in their hands. As they walked, they kept scanning around. Biological detector. Xiaoqin was shocked. He reckoned that it was something like this. It was very likely and it seemed to be very advanced. The detector would not give an early warning to some small flying birds and insects. It would only flash a red light. Xiao Chen was originally hoping to get lucky. However, when the three of them walked closer, the detector suddenly emitted a sharp, beep beep beep, sound. Who is it? Come out. The tall disciple who was leading the group shouted and looked around vigilantly. Xiao Chen secretly thought that this thing was really advanced. Science was really different. He had already hidden his breath, but it was ineffective against scientific instruments. Now, the martial arts sect's method of finding people was also quite advanced. However, since Xiao Chen was on the tree, these disciples would not be able to find him in a short period of time. Therefore, Xiao Chen did not plan to jump down immediately. You don't want to come out? The tall disciple saw that no one responded and seemed to be embarrassed. It's fine if you don't want to come out. Junior Ba immediately released the signal to inform the elders of the sect. They will definitely be able to find him. Yes. A disciple next to him quickly responded. Damn it. Xiao Chen cursed in his heart. He had no choice but to jump down from the tree. He looked at the three of them vigilantly. Junior brother Ba, who had been instructed, also looked at Xiao Chen with a faint smile. It seemed like he had no intention of releasing the signal to call for help. Xiao Chen saw the greed in the eyes of these three people. It was as if in their eyes he was a prey. I'm out. What do you want? I don't know you. Xiao Chen asked, pretending to be puzzled. Okay kid, don't pretend. You are quite bold. You actually dare to provoke Martial Uncle Smiling. Aren't you afraid of being beaten to death? The tall disciple looked up and down at Xiao Chen and said, If you don't want to die, come with us three. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. He was a little confused about the attitude of these three people. I'm just a casual cultivator who came to watch the Demon Gate Grand Meeting. I don't know any Martial Uncle Smiling. You don't know? A casual cultivator? Then what are you doing here? The tall disciple asked with a faint smile. I'm just a casual cultivator. Naturally, I'm not qualified to participate in the Demon Gate Grand Meeting. I only knew about it when I came here. Therefore, I walked around this mountain range out of boredom. I hope the two young masters won't make things difficult for me. Xiao Chen said with his fists cupped. Xiao Chen wanted to muddle through. If he could avoid conflict with these people, then he would. From the aura that these three people unintentionally released, they were not weak. 2 level 3 Devil Masters and 1 Great Perfection Devil Master. Even if Xiao Chen could kill them, it would not be easy to kill all 3 of them at once. Lie continued to lie. The tall disciple sneered and said to Junior Brother Ba beside him, Junior Brother Ba, take out the portrait and let him see. Okay. As he said, Junior Brother Ba took out a photo. There was no doubt that it was Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's face turned black. He appeared with Xiao Chen's original appearance. It was exactly the same as in the photo. This photo was also taken in Songning City. How about it? What else do you want to say? The tall disciple looked at Xiao Chen mockingly and mocked. At this moment, Xiao Chen immediately pretended to be surprised and opened his mouth wide. This. The reason why he pretended to be weak was that in Xiao Chen's opinion, these few people did not send a message to the sect for such a long time, nor did they force him to make a move. Instead, they were talking nonsense with him. Xiao Chen felt that there was something wrong with them and they should be plotting something. The tall disciple did not talk nonsense anymore. He snorted and said with an unfriendly expression, Kid, I might as well tell you the truth. We are disciples of the Joyful Clan. If we hand you over to Master Uncle Smiling Face, you will definitely die. Xiao Chen pretended to be shocked and said in shock, Then, how can we not hand me over to Master Uncle Smiling Face? Show me the way. I don't want to die. I didn't mean to offend Master Uncle Smiling Face. This is a little difficult. The tall disciple pretended to be troubled and thought for a moment before saying, Actually, it's not that there is no way. I heard that you have a Dharma treasure? How about this, you give me your Dharma treasure. If there is really no good treasure in this thing, we will let you go. By then we will hand over the good treasure. If Master Uncle Smiling Face is happy, he might not pursue this matter anymore. I don't have any good treasure. Although Xiao Chen said so, he was sneering in his heart. So they were coveting his flying sword. These 3 disciples obviously did not know what his treasure was. Smiling Methreau probably did not tell them either. They must have guessed it themselves, and this excuse was just to take Xiao Chen's treasure for themselves. As for handing it over, it was just a nice way of saying it. Don't King reject our kindness. The tall disciple's face darkened and said to junior brother Ba beside him, since he is not cooperating, we don't have to be good people. Junior brother Ba, call for help. Yes. Junior brother Ba took out the communication device and was ready to release it. Wait. Xiao Chen looked afraid on the surface, but in his heart, he was thinking about whether to kill all three of them. What? You think of a treasure? The tall disciple pinched his chin and looked greedy. Yes, I do have a Dharma treasure in my hand, but it is something I rely on to escape. I was able to escape from the smiling Maitreya because of this treasure. Xiao Chen said sincerely, if I give this thing to you and you don't keep your word and don't let me go, then I will lose my last reliance. I won't be able to escape then. What is it? When the tall disciple heard this, the greed on his face became even stronger. If it could escape from the hands of Master Uncle's smiling face, it was obviously not an ordinary Dharma treasure, but a real treasure. Senior brother, do you think the thing in this kid's hand is a flying Dharma treasure? Junior brother Ba suddenly said, look at his weak appearance, it must be a flying Dharma treasure that is known as an escaped Dharma treasure. The tall disciple nodded and said, kid, you don't have to worry about this and that. Take out the treasure, otherwise we will directly rob it. If you give it to us now we will let you live, but if you let us take action then there is no weight to it. If we kill you it is your bad luck. I will only give you 5 minutes to think about it. Well, if that is the case, then I can only respectfully obey. Xiao Chen sighed and patted his waist. The flying sword was unsheathed and Xiao Chen held it in his hand. What are you doing? The tall disciple was shocked and pointed at Xiao Chen. Do you want to struggle to the death with us? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.